Welcome back to the Name Redacted podcast, America's most beloved podcast, the most downloaded Red Sox podcast in the world. Coley's here.
That's right.
Yeah.
Cold dog.
Talking socks.
Talking
all the moves.
socks.
All the new fellas. My favorite time of the year. They buy. The salary goes up. What are we at? 500 million for this
500
team?
million.
Mm-hmm.
Just for this year. Just
the
for
half
this
Billy
year.
Sox. The half a bill.
They call them the green socks, baby.
Otani and
Yeah.
Yamamoto in one offseason? Are you kidding me?
Right. Fuck yeah, dude. I mean, it's Thursday night that we're recording this. We were just talking about how it feels like winter weekend was forever ago. Normally, that would be an event that we would be covering on the front lines, but no one here went. It was all pretty much by choice. It just didn't seem like it was going to be a good time, and I don't think it was a good time from firsthand accounts that I've heard. Honestly, before we get into winter weekend, I just wanted to share this little tidbit that was very alarming to me. I think it's more indicative of the temperature in the room as it regards to the Red Sox. So yesterday, I don't know if you saw this, but I went to Sports World in Saugus. And I mean, I had nothing to do yesterday, at least during the day. Got there at like 10:30 in the morning. I was there until probably 2 p.m. just browsing, picking out bats and balls.
Looking at some sports.
And just picking out some sports. I was, perusing through all the different items in the store. I'm not much of a card guy. They have a ton of cards there, but I'm not really much of a card guy. Picked out 3 bats, got 2 balls. I'm coming back for Tony Gwynn, by the way. Those are hard to find, I guess. Like, they just sold their last one. But the reason why I'm bringing this up is because I was talking to Phil Castanetti, who runs Sports World, and he's like, you wouldn't believe the number, or actually, I think it was his son, Corey. I can't remember. It was one of them, but they both work there. It's mentioned to me, like, you wouldn't believe the number of fans, Red Sox fans, that are just coming in there to sell their collections because they're like, I'm done. They're just like, I've been a lifelong fan. Here's my collection of 500 signed Red Sox baseballs that I've collected over the years. I don't want them in my house anymore. I'm done with this team. And then he just sells them there. And that's happened quite a bit, apparently, this offseason, where Red Sox fan, like, I get it. I don't want to say I get it, but it makes more sense when, like, the younger, spoiled, entitled fans that only know winning are like, I'm done. 2 last place seasons, I'm done. I think it's more scary when you've got, like, the 67-year-old Red Sox fan that's like has actually been through real suffering. And like from that group, you do hear a lot of the get the fuck over it. Like, you don't know pain and suffering. Like, I grew up in the 80s and before 67. You should have seen Fenway Park before 67. You couldn't even fucking get 3 people in the same ballpark. Like, those fans are the ones that are kind of calling out the younger generation. But when you have some of the older fans that are like, man, I am fucking done with this team. That's when it becomes a little bit alarming.
I heard, at least from Ed, talking about what winter weekend was. He called it vibeless, and he was there last year as well. They said that the crowd, Jen McCaffrey had it in her article saying it was a lot, just wasn't as filled in as it was a year ago. And I think you even saw, despite fans being mad, it wasn't the same outrage we saw when you were on the stage. Now, maybe that's because John Henry was there. Yeah. But damn, to give up on generations of being a Red Sox fan. I know shit's bad right now. I think, from my perspective, 25 years old, you guys are a little older than me. This is by far the darkest time to be a Red Sox fan in my whole life. I don't even think you can argue.
If you're 25, it's not even a debate. Like, this is the worst time to be a Red Sox fan if you're in your 20s. I'm in my 30s, and it's the worst time to be a Red Sox fan because I think when you start talking about, like, when was the worst time in your lifetime to be a Red Sox fan, like, people will bring up the 90s and everything. And I'm like, well, in 97, Nomar came up and he was the rookie of the year, and that was exciting. And then Pedro came in 98, and then Manny came in 01, and then Poppy came in 03. And it's like, you don't have those, like, even when the Red Sox were not playing well, like, you had guys where it's like, yeah, fuck yeah, I'm going to show up to see Pedro. Like, fuck yeah, I'm going to show up watch Nomar and Manny, and it's like we don't have those guys right now. Like I guess the closest thing is Devers.
Well, I think the other half of it is we know what winning tastes like, right? Like once you get to it and you experience what the Red Sox were before, let's call it 2018 and down, 03 all the way to then, you understood what it was like to spend money. You may have one down year, which was a bridge year, and then you'd go back up. Alex Bear put out that whole piece today talking about how what's happening this year, you can't call it a bridge year anymore because they're going completely off the path than anything they've done before. That's kind of what it is, right? Like this is existing, and I think Patriots fans have gone through it a little bit. You are no longer a big market team. The Red Sox don't act like that right now. They may want to say at some point, oh, we're going to spend when the time comes. You don't act like a big market team anymore. You don't push up against the luxury tax like you did even just in 2021 to take it as far as you can. No, instead, you're saying, all right, we don't really care to compete this year. Like, we hope we're competitive. That's nice. The postseason, fuck it. Let's just kind of develop. We're not going to spend all our money up until even the level we're setting at after gaslighting fans all offseason. That's crazy. I think you're a team like the Astros that goes over it once in a while now, and maybe things change down the line, but at least 2 years in a row, you've broken your pattern. This is something Red Sox ownership hasn't done before.
The whole 90s was sick. The first half of the 90s, Clemens is still there. You're talking about one of the 5 greatest pitchers of all time. Mo Vaughn won MVP, 96?
95.
95? Yeah, you skipped over that when you started the timeline at Nomar for some reason. Like, this is far and away the worst time because those teams, while they sucked, like they weren't good, they were also cursed. This is entirely... They did it to themselves.
Self-inflicted.
It's completely self-inflicted. They have no one to blame. There's no ghost they can blame except for the one they created, which I don't want to talk about immediately, but it always comes back to it. That's where you can't talk about anything that's happening now without bringing up the fact that they just sold Mookie Betts for nothing. They got a catcher, sick, and Dick Fitz. I don't want to write off Dick Fitz, but that's all you've got to show for it. Call me crazy, and maybe I'm crazy. I would have rather have just paid Mookie Betts, who's like the 27th highest paid player in baseball. And will be cheaper after Snell signs. Like, he's just going to keep going down this offseason. He's going to become cheaper.
I don't disagree. Like, I agree, Coley. I understand where you're coming from. But even so, I think we all saw where this thing was heading in 2021. And I've been falling down the rabbit hole recently. I'm watching all the old hype videos and where things were going, where you hadn't gone over the luxury tax. You pushed it to the ALCS. And then in 2022, you choose to barely hang over. Heim's biggest mistake of his tenure. I said it the next day after it happened, how bad of an issue it was. That was as rough as a move as I can remember any GM making. Seriously, where it was so clear that you had to get under. But you look at that time, right? And you were willing to go over. If you would push beyond those measures, and this is not where I'm holding Heim, because clearly there were some serious, pockets being held. People didn't want to spend. But if you had treated 2022 like it was supposed to, I do wonder if we're in a much different place than we are now, where they're kind of sitting back and willing to look at it and operate differently. Because you were spending up until the luxury tax in 2021. You pushed that as far as you possibly could. It felt like in 2022, when things went wrong with the deadline and they had an excuse to take a step back, they just kept taking step back after step back. And they accepted like, hey, we're fine kicking the can down the road again and again because we've already done it multiple times.
If you're Heim there, though, and you already know we're going backwards, like I'm being told we're going backwards, why would you start that process? Like, well, the cloud started in that preseason when they wouldn't. What did they offer Xander? 4 for 80? Like, genuinely, that was the offer, right?
That was the Lester thing. What did they do?
No, they just offered him 4 more years at 20 per.
Yeah.
They offered him the same deal he already had. So it was like technically 6 for like 120 or something because he still had 2 years left.
He wanted the Altuve extension. That was like the model that he was looking for at the time, which was like 150 or something like that.
Their maximum offer was 80. Like that was the real thing. And again, they told us this. That was what their offer was. And what was every post game like? Every single post game for 162 games was, "Hey, Xander, are you staying?" That was you talk about vibeless. That was the whole 22 season. Why would Heim do why? Like, I'm not excusing necessarily not going under luxury tax, but in order to do so, he would have had to have traded Xander in a move that only would have
no.
given.
I think it was
office,
four for 90.
You could have done it.
You
could have done it without moving Xander, without a doubt. You could have moved JD
doing
Martinez.
Exactly. It was JD who people obviously didn't want. Like, it was the Mets were trying to give up their like number 14,
which was fine. Take him for the money. Take him. Get out. Shoo. We're good.
Though we're talking about a guy who the first thing he was directed to do, the first thing was trade Mookie Betts. Now he's going to trade the rest of the 2018 core at a deadline where they're selling. He would have just been fired a year sooner. I completely understand why he didn't do that. He was like, I'm smart enough. I can make this work next year. We're going to get a Cy Young winner, multiple time Cy Young winner, and Corey Kluber. Everything's going to be fine. That's I understand completely why he's like, I'm never going to be able to spend this much again. Why am I saving them money? Why would he give a fuck about that? The writing was on the wall.
Well, what was the writing at that time, right? Was it where they were planning to go over the following year, or was it we were going to get right back under? Because arguably their reasoning for getting under in 2023 was the mistake in 2022. That's what they cited it as. Brian O'Halloran coming out in September saying, listen, we fucked up. Like, honestly, hand up, Heim admitted himself, we all fucked up with the luxury tax. It was the wrong move. It's just from that standpoint, if you looked at it and you said, we're waiting for that window of Anthony and Meyer, and this is before the Anthony breakout and before you drafted Teal, but they were looking at it and saying, well, Marcelo Meyer's our key here, right? That's what we're hoping to build towards. Why wouldn't you go over it if you were planning to stay under in 2024 as is? I think that's where you look at this, and there's an inconsistent philosophy here. And I think that's the whole thing.
I think you're giving them too much credit. You're still giving them more credit than they've earned to this point.
For what? What am I giving them credit for?
You still think they have like a plan more than like tomorrow?
No, I'm saying I don't think they had a plan. I think they've been inconsistent and back and forth for some time.
Right. That's where my point is with Heim. Like, he can come out and say all the right things after. I think that's why he's employed by the Cardinals now. Like, he played the public game great. But if you're telling him behind closed doors, hey, we're only going down from here. Yeah, why would I trade? I mean, they were in the 11th hour when they finally woke up and offered Xander like a legitimate contract. It just happened to be too late because the Padres were insane that offseason. He was like, I'm just going to keep this guy. JD Martinez, I don't know. And we're talking about this offseason here. I can't remember who wrote it. I know Stats tweeted it out. I don't think Heim would have had this conservative offseason.
No,
I think
Spear
part of this. Yeah,
Spear said it in the Baseball America podcast. They whole front office across the board believed they were ticking up. Brian O'Halloran's comments followed. I think where the things break up, and you mentioned it, was Xander, and the same reason the offer was on the deal for Evaldi. The way they acted at the start of the offseason going into 2023, they were planning to go over. When Xander said, hey, look at what the Padres offered me. I got to go there. And you fucked it up because you had all that time to figure it out beforehand, whether you want to talk, like you said, Coley, in spring training, when you had that little negotiating window, whatever. He gave you 1,000 chances and you waited till the end. You got fucked. You found out what free agency does for you. But there was the plan there. When Xander ended up leaving, it flipped. They looked at it as an excuse to take a step back, and I think they've just continued to be okay with that. I think that's where the moment in the whole conversation changed, because that 3-year deal was on the table for Nate Evaldi, and that offer for Xander Bogaerts was on the table, and they had paid Masataka Yoshida, and they had Chris Martin and Kenley Jansen. These things were all coming together at the time. You were setting yourself up to go over. When Xander took back, they took a step back, and now I think once they took that step back, they said, hey, we've already done it once. Why not do it again? And they had no problem framing it in different ways.
But even what Breslow was just saying about, they asked him what the offer was for Yamamoto. And he just keeps saying, like, the fact that they haven't even leaked, we know what the Mets and Yankees offered because they feel like, yeah, listen, he just wanted the Dodgers. We were there with the money. What do you genuinely think the Red Sox offered? 180? I think that's giving them benefit of the doubt.
They probably went 218. They were like, we offered him more than what we offered David Price, and he was the highest paid pitcher in baseball history at the time. We went over that. We threw 218 out there. He told us to fuck off. What did you want us to do?
Well, the
fact that they won't even leak the offer because that's how embarrassed they know they are. Like,
that's it.
That's how
they weren't even reading close.
They're not reading the market right at all. And I don't blame Breslow. He was hired likely on a false promise. He's already started shit talking them publicly, which I respect the hell out of. But he was given this false bill of goods just because no one wanted this goddamn job. They fired Heim. The rest of the industry was like, you guys can figure it the fuck out. Hire in-house. We're all set. Breslow's like, I already live here. I don't have to move. Like, I'll do it. I think he was told, like, yeah, you can spend as much as you want. I genuinely believe they came into the offseason thinking, like, we're getting one of the big guys, no doubt.
No.
Like,
It was
He
one big
fucking
guy.
said, well, like, this is what drives me absolutely insane. Like, we joke and I think we stretch the truth sometimes a little bit to make a joke. The Red Sox actually are gaslighting us. Like,
yes.
they are gaslighting us. They hired Craig Breslow and said, he came out and said, hey, we're not going to have any financial restrictions. None. Financial restrictions? What the fuck are
It was
those?
like a selling
Not
point.
here in Boston. Not here in Boston. And what we were just talking about with Yamamoto, they 1000%. Like, they might not even leak it. John Henry might fucking go and do a sit down with the Globe being like, we offered $350 million. He just wanted the West Coast.
Per year.
We offered the most money. Like, they would fucking tell you if they were in it over or at what he signed for. They did not. That number still has not leaked. He signed over a month ago. There's that. Now you have the fact that the luxury tax threshold is $327 million.
Two.
The Red Sox are at
Two.
237 million.
Yeah.
And they're at 198 right now.
201. 201.88.
201. So they have 30, called 35. What?
Yeah, 35 million.
Did they give Criswell $2 more million? Were they like, you know what? This guy's not race.
Yeah. They have 35 million to spend. Jordan Montgomery still out there. Jorge Soler still out there. I mean, I'm not going to put Adam Duvall in the same class, but you have Blake Snell still. Like, you could do things to make this team better for 2024. And then Red Sox ownership went out there at winter weekend. And in the same weekend, Coley, in the same weekend, we heard our payroll is going to be lower than it was last year. But you're a liar if you think we're not trying.
Oh, wait, don't forget the best part.
What?
Don't forget the best part, Jared. Tom Warner spoke with someone in the front office, and they agreed. Oh, the Red Sox were an 88 or 89 win team with better defense. So add on all this stuff.
9 more wins.
They think this
9
team,
more wins if we can field some grounders.
They think this team's 88 or 89 wins, and you know what the right decision is? Fuck it. Kick the can down the road and lower the payroll. Like, what? You make no sense. Nothing adds up.
All right. There's that, and no one has been worse at walking something back than Tom Warner, and now the full throttle comment. Like, correct me if I'm wrong, because I was listening to 98.5 The Sports Up, and it might have been Zolak and Bertrand, but it might have been Felger and Maz. Someone mentioned that when Papelbon announced Craig Breslow and Sam Kennedy, and they came out to booze, that Tom Warner turned around and walked off the stage. Is that true?
So during Breslow and Kennedy being on stage while they were getting people started shouting Heim 2.0, yada, yada. Tom Warner got up during that and left. Like,
was he on the stage or off to the side?
I believe off to the side.
Okay. I mean, maybe he had to piss. I don't know. I don't want to.
He didn't come back.
Yeah, I don't know. Because I guess also if you're not a part of it,
really gotta piss. Like,
sometimes you just gotta piss,
you just gotta
dude.
fucking rip a 17-minute piss. Who among us hasn't?
It's the Pete Abe.
Rip the piss.
I'm gonna give him the benefit of the doubt. But I mean whatever. Everything's a bad look right now. And you know that I'm a Sam Kennedy guy. I love Sam. And when we brought up having Sam on the podcast, I didn't reach out to ask. I just felt like it maybe wasn't the best timing. I think he could benefit a lot from sitting down and actually having a conversation about what the fuck is going on. Because even telling people you're a liar if you think that we're not trying, come on, you just said that the payroll is going to be lower. What that means you're not trying. We know what the luxury tax threshold is. We know how much money is committed to the roster next year. You're the Boston Red Sox. There are still available arms out there. What do you mean that you're trying? I don't get it. And when Breslow comes out and talks about we're involved with a bunch of different teams on a bunch of different trades. All right, then fucking make one. What are you talking? All you did was trade Chris Sale for Vaughn Grissom a deal where it's like, all right, yeah, like it's nice to have a second baseman now. He was the top prospect. Like they basically bought a prospect because he was blocked in Atlanta. Like I like the move. Okay, can he pitch? And when Tyler just mentioned, oh, you forgot something. The biggest thing that is fucking crazy about winter weekend and what came out of it was that they told us we're not going to spend until these prospects come up. And none of them are pitchers. None of them. And Zach Scott was the one that reached out to Maz, right?
Yeah, he had told Maz that the Red Sox pitching 29th in the farm system.
29th. Where, I mean, you would know this off the top of your head. Where are the Red Sox farm system ranked by Baseball America right now?
Their last ranking had them at, I think it was 4 or 5.
I was going to say
3.
Number 4 or 5,
like right
top
there.
5. Call it a top 5 farm system in baseball. They're 29th in pitching. There are 2 pitchers out there right now that can help you. And I'm not going to bang on the Blake Snell drum, like whatever that, because whatever the contract is going to be, it's what it's going to be. But a guy like Jordan Montgomery, if he's telling you, I want to be there, just give me a 4th year, and they're like, how's 2? I want 4. All right, 2. Can you come up to 4? No, but 2. Why would he do that? Why? Like, this is Jordan Montgomery was a dude that was like the number 5 starter with the Yankees and then got traded to St. Louis, took off and dominated with Texas, won a World Series, was a big part of why they won a World Series. Like, this is his chance to get a bag. Like, I'm not taking, like, I owe the Red Sox nothing. Why would I fucking come down to their broke asses so that I can forego a bag that I know I'm going to get from somebody? Like, as a Boris guy, I'm going to get it from somebody. I'm just telling you, like, I'm giving you the advantage of, like, yeah, I want to be here. Like, can we make this work? And the Red Sox are like, no, we cannot make this work.
Well, and you're acting like that when you're not competing. Like, you're making it clear as fucking day to everyone. For a guy who just went and won a World Series, well, hey, if you come here, we're kind of just bridging it. You know what I mean? We're hoping, or not even, bridging it isn't even the right word anymore. You're just trying to get to this window of Meyer, Anthony, and TL, and we're going to see what happens while ignoring the whole...
Yes or no, Tyler? Yes or no, Tyler? If they sign Jorge Soler and Jordan Montgomery, how do you feel about the 2024 Boston Red Sox? Infinitely better?
Yeah, a lot. I don't let them off the hook for any of the full throttle shit or anything like that, but I can look at it and
I'm
say
just
this
talking
is at least
roster
something.
construction. Is this a team that you could see making the playoffs? Maybe.
Sure.
On the mid to lower end of the 80 win spectrum. This is a team that may have a chance if they get hot for a month that could put them over the top. Like, that's a team that could sneak in. Like, the fact that we're even talking about, like, oh man, maybe the Red Sox next year could be this year's D-backs. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? But that's the reality of it. And they still have to go out and add a guy like Montgomery and a right-handed bat like Soler in order to do that. If they do neither of those things and they're just telling you we're going to lower payroll, we're going to wait for the prospects to come up, it's like, all right, so what does that realistically mean? Like, can we get excited about next year? Like, it's already been 2 last place seasons in a row. Like, we've already been waiting, and now you're telling us to wait more. That's what I tweeted last week when we like in live time when we were hearing Sam Kennedy up there talking about all these different things, and I was basically live tweeting the comments. I said, this is why Red Sox fans are mad. The process of beginning to wait started with the Mookie Betts trade. That was 4 years ago. We've already been waiting 4 years. And now we need to wait for Teal and Meyer. I can't imagine York is going to be a guy that fits in just because, I mean, unless they flip Grissom or something like that. And then Roman Anthony's a fucking teenager. And we're waiting for him to come up here. Like, special talent. All AA guys. And Coley, I'll see you this summer. I'm going to make my fucking Hadlock debut. I've never been there. I'm going to go up there and I'm going to watch some Sea Dogs baseball and be really excited about it.
You come
but
to the
outside of that,
you better be ready to field, because like major league games have made it so that like you are extremely safe, which is smart. Like, you won't just most likely randomly get duffed in the temple with a foul ball. Hadlock, buddy, you better keep your eyes on the field because that ball is screaming back at you frequently.
I love that.
Oh,
It'll keep me engaged. It'll keep me locked in.
You feel alive. Why is Rafael Devers still on the team? Can we talk about that? Because it doesn't make any sense at all with like how they operate.
That's
they're wasting his prime years.
That's the one thing they can point to and say, look, Look at that, everyone. Look at that. Look, that's an example of us spending money. See him. Look at him.
They should never want to point at it because they botched that too. He's like the 5th highest paid player in the league. And you could have got him like Austin Riley's, what was it? 230? Is that what he signed for like 3 years ago? So you spent $120 more million on a guy. I'm happy Rafi got paid. I have no problem. I wish they tripled his pay, but you can't be that stupid. Like you can't like they didn't get a cut. If you're saying we're not going to spend money in the interim, why aren't you paying like Casas? Why? I don't even think paying Bayo is like the best idea just because he's an arm and anything could happen. But why wouldn't you lock him up? If you're not even going to go for like the smart wins, not just we gave Devers this massive deal. People weren't even happy with that deal because people were like, this is a big overpay for a guy who can't play any defense. It's they handle everything so poorly. It started with before Betts when they were like, we can only keep 2 out of 3 of these guys. They're talking like the fucking Orioles. That's who we sound like. A team that genuinely has no money. That's who we're talking
That's how
about.
they're
like last year.
Yeah, that's how they're acting. They're acting like you can't compete until you have everything go right for you. That's the whole point of being the Red Sox is that, yeah, you may have a lull for a season where you need to kind of get everything in order. You may have to reset. Okay, that's part of the game. Multiple years, and you're doing it a second time in a row where in 4 out of 5 seasons coming up, you're under the luxury tax. There's no excuse. You're the Boston Red Sox. That's just it's choosing not to act like that team. And you could frame it however you want this year that, hey, well, we're not going to pay guys because we want some of the younger guys to get opportunities and stuff like that. You've come in last place 3 out of the 4 last years. Like, you have a young core. Why are we pretending like the Red Sox won 60 fucking games last year? When did that become a thing? Seriously.
They traded their young core too already.
Well, yeah,
like
but
Mookie and Xander were the young core. They were pretty fucking good, I would argue. And you trade them, you get rid of them, so you don't even really get anything back for them. To trade them would imply you got some value back. You didn't do that with either of them. It's fucking insane. Like, you're talking about this young core. Why shouldn't people look at this? Like, people were worried we were going to become the Rays. How are we not the Marlins? Like, how are we not the Marlins? We're doing the exact same thing. You can't even say they're doing the same thing. They at least got fucking Anthony Miller. They got useful shit back when they traded their Hall of Famers away.
You brought up the Yankees. The Yankees gave a massive contract to Aaron Judge. They have Giancarlo Stanton's contract on the books. They signed Garrett Cole to the highest pitching contract in baseball. It's like $324 million. Yeah. They were still in on Yamamoto, and they traded for Juan Soto, gave him the most money in arbitration, and they'll surely be in on him as a free agent at the end of the year. I mean, when you look at that,
they finished a game ahead of you last year, more or less.
Yeah.
Like, they were the same team. They were the exact same team, and you see how they're operating.
Right.
And they're choosing operating forward, by the way. The luxury tax, just like the Dodgers, they could give a fuck less. You trade for Juan Soto, they're going to pay him. They're going to give him whatever the fuck he asks for this upcoming offseason. So they have no interest in the luxury tax moving forward. The Dodgers have no interest. Here you are staying under it, at least for this year, most likely next year, because those 3, I love Teal, Meyer, Anthony, awesome to dream. The fact everything has to go perfect for them to all be up here by the end of the year. Then they're supposed to be the stars on the team too, right?
Oh, not the end of the year.
Yeah, why would you
we're not even talking about
this?
Well,
that's praying that they're by September they're pushing, that they're having a great
No fucking
year.
way.
But that's if everything goes right.
They're not gonna like start their clocks when they're like, we have no intention of spending until 2028. Like, Brock Holt is going to be on the Hall of Fame ballot by the next time that they put the fucking any type of effort into free agency.
I think the more troublesome part of this, they're back. Like, we're talking about them banking on Meyer, Teal, and Anthony. I think they're banking on O'Neill, Duran, and Abreu. Like, I think they genuinely believe that's like an outfield that can compete. I think they're much higher on that outfield than like everyone else alive. Like, I genuinely think they've built a good outfield.
I don't know what you would look at Tyler O'Neill and be like, this is it. I mean, I hope he has a healthy season. He's had one of those.
Sure.
It's the same delusion, though, that they believe that they don't need an impact right-handed bat. That they're like, hey, whatever. Justin Turner was our most consistent right-handed bat last year, kind of anchored our lineup with Rafael Devers, was, important from a plate approach standpoint, all those things. But who gives a fuck? Let's just see if Trevor Story can figure it out this year and be that guy for us. That's absurd.
I think they're I think they fixed the defense with Tyler O'Neill and putting Yoshida at DH. I think they're like, this outfield's gonna rake and we're gonna catch every ball. Like I don't understand any of it. Like none of the logic adds up at all. Tyler O'Neill, like for Teal, I think it's more likely Teal, Anthony, and Meyer are all stars than it is this outfield. The three of them, it like all are still have starting jobs by like June.
Who do you think loses it? O'Neill
Well, I'm
will
not even
probably
saying,
get
like-
hurt. Like, that's just the reality.
That's what I'm saying. It's not even production. What's Duran's career high? 103 games played. Like he's not exactly Mr. Reliable. He had a great season last year based on his career to this point. It was his third year in the majors, and it was double the amount of games he had played the previous two, and it still was what 2/3 of a season. He missed 60 games. Like that, there's no reliability. Abreu played for a month, and 2 of those weeks he was on paternity leave. Like he might have been fucking again. You don't know with that guy. He could have been fucking all over the place. He could have paternity leave every other week.
Mhm.
I could look at each of them individually and be like, I get why you're high on him. I get why you're high on him. I get why you're high on him. You have no one you can point to and be like, we know he's an answer there. Even if O'Neill plays 150 games, he's a free agent at the end.
Yeah, I think
Like, there's
I think
nothing-
he's dealt. I think like if I put my money on the table, he's traded in August. I think he's gone or July 31st, whatever.
Sure.
I think that's what they look at him as. And they say, hey, we'll probably boot him at that point, and then whether it's getting Rafaela more playing time, whether it's doing something, we're just going to open it back.
I don't think they like Rafaela at all. I don't think they like him in the slightest.
He's definitely not ready.
I mean, the strikeout numbers are fucking alarming. It's like he's a great athlete, great defender. And it's like, all right.
Who won ALCS MVP in 2018? Keep forgetting.
JBJ.
Jackie Bradley Jr.
The guy known for his bat, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Rafael's the best defensive prospect in baseball.
well, let's just,
I wouldn't go that
Jackie Bradley didn't win ALCS MVP for his defense. He went 2 for the series, but it was like a fucking grand slam and a bomb off Garrett Cole or whatever the fuck. Like he had 2 of the biggest hits of the whole series. But
all I'm saying is that team was loaded. It didn't matter if Jackie hit 100 for the season. They used him for his glove out in center field. Rafaela should be getting major league exposure. He's going to be a guy that consistently has a high K rate. He's also going to have one of the best gloves in baseball. Like that's why he would play. That's exactly why he would play.
I'm not saying he won't play. I'm just saying that
they're not going to play him is my point. And you can build the best offense in the league.
I wouldn't be so sure about that. I wouldn't be so sure about that. I think Rafael will get his chances.
I do.
But you need
I think he'll play. My thing is, I don't think they want him to play. I think they've been shoving him to every trade offer this offseason. That's exactly why a trade hasn't happened.
Yeah, but when you have a Jackie Bradley Jr. type, and I'm not comparing Rafael and JBJ, but I mean, Benintendi hit 290 with an 830 OPS in 2018, and Mookie Betts won the fucking MVP. And I believe Mookie Betts' 2018 season was the second highest single season wins above replacement in Red Sox history.
Probably. Yeah, he was really good.
I believe it was. I think
Yeah,
Yaz in 67 is 1. Mookie in 2018 is 2. So
Yeah,
those got to get him out of here. Those 2 seasons were flanking JBJ when he was in center field. We don't have guys like that flanking a Rafael in center field.
Sure, goes to the larger point. When they did have a guy like that, they got rid of him for literally zero reason. Like that, every time they talk moving forward, it undercuts everything they've said in the past. Like you can't point to when the lies started. You have to assume they started when Dombrowski left in a manner which no one still knows why he left.
I'm surprised Dombrowski never said anything. I feel like he's like
He's classy.
like a take no bullshit kind of guy.
Makes it seem like maybe both sides had reasons to leave.
Well, I think he said something.
Tyler, what the fuck's going on with your camera, buddy?
It's insane. It's insane.
I mean, he showed up like before the podcast started, and it looked like he was in a dungeon. He had no lighting. Something happened to his face too.
Just
I
big
think.
T.
Yeah,
Hello.
it's just a big.
There it is.
There it is.
God,
Which
good?
pixel is Tyler? No, you've never looked worse.
Are you calling in from like 2001? Like what?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, and he's gone.
But yeah, like they started down this path by saying Mookie didn't want to be here. That was they said that. Mookie's denied it every chance he's had to speak. Much better. Yeah, fine. He's denied it every chance he's had to speak. Why would anyone believe that at this point? Well, no one should have believed it in the beginning. Why would anyone believe it now? Like, they just keep lying.
Which part are you saying was a lie?
Saying Mookie would never re-sign here. They cut off negotiations. We can go back and forth all you want. The Red Sox offered 300. Mookie countered with 400. There was no more counters. Like, that was the end of it. They said he doesn't want to be here.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean,
and then he signed right in the middle.
It's a very standard negotiation where the Red Sox offer 300. Mookie Betts counters at 420. And then the Dodgers were like, we'll meet in the middle. And he was like, cool.
Red Sox were like, we will not. You're out of here, pal.
Mm-mm. Yep. So that's
where,
just like,
but they built the trust on trading him with a lie. And now every time they talk, it undoes a previous lie. There's been no transparency. There's no reason to believe them. Like, when the Dodgers let Corey Seager walk, when they let Max Scherzer walk, when they let Cody Bellinger, who won an MVP with them, walk, when they let Trey Turner walk, the entire industry was like, they're going to get Ohtani. When the Red Sox traded Mookie Betts and let Xander walk, let JD walk, trade Chris Sale and money for a prospect, no one's like, they're getting Soto next year. Not a single person thinks they're loading up for Vladdy in 2 years. No one. There's none of that. No one knows what the fuck they're doing.
Because the answer to that question is I don't think that they know what the fuck they're doing.
Which is a problem.
And that's what I was trying to say earlier. I think they had been going back and forth on philosophies. They're just not in line. If what you're saying doesn't add up on a regular basis over years, you're switching back and forth. And I think you can even look at the Heim firing and say, well, when you fired him and everything you said was about making those big moves and doing all those big things, well, no, now it's about you don't believe Heim could make the moves with the budgets you were setting before, so you hope Breslow operates, the same way, but just more efficiently or with more balls. None of it adds up in a straight line. No one's Tom Warner and Sean McAdam floated this, and of course Tom Warner is going to say him and John Henry are in lockstep. He's floated that it feels like maybe they're on different pages. They're not seeing things the same way here.
I mean, that makes sense. That would make a lot of sense if ownership is not on the same page, because Tom Warner, God bless him, going out there saying, hey, we're going fucking full throttle this winter, baby. Full throttle, up the ass. We're going to be spending $1 billion on payroll. And then they spend like $1 million on Cooper Criswell. And then he shows up at winter weekend. He's like, I didn't mean it like that. I meant like I live my life to the fullest, baby. You know how Tommy does. You know how Tommy do. I just be living full throttle. I go down to Miami, full throttle. I go up to Montreal. We go to the strip clubs there, full throttle. Like, that's just, I've ever since I was a kid, I've been saying full throttle. I got a tattoo on my nipples that says full throttle. The O in throttle is my nipple. That's where I got it from. Like, that's just me. That's Tommy W doing it. And we're just sitting here being like, all right, okay, sounds good.
And that's where I think you look at with John Henry here and you say, all right, well, is this a situation where he's been hiring guys who maybe don't feel like they have the cachet to force John Henry's hand? You hire a first-time guy in Heim, who it's going to take time to kind of build up and make some of those deals. You hire a guy like Craig Breslow. When you have Dombrowski, and Dombrowski had that way, he didn't give a fuck. He was going to go around you. He was going to find people to get in John Henry's ear. That's why the Chris Sale deal got done. John Henry didn't want to pay that. He was completely against it. But Dombrowski did what a Hall of Fame executive does and found a way to get that deal done. He worked it. So then you look at someone like Sam Kennedy, and we talk about the Larry Lucchino role. Can you get into his ear? Can you maybe be the one to get some of these things through? Maybe get John Henry off this throne to spend some money? It just feels like no one's willing to push John Henry in certain ways. No one can kind of hold him to the fire. And at the end of the day, it's his decision. If he's just being stingy, he's just being stingy. But, it's a situation where seemingly everyone else feels differently. Tom Warner's comments, what Craig Breslow said at the presser, and what the organization felt before Heim was fired. They all thought they were ready to go up. Who's the guy who thought differently?
I also think they may have too many cooks in the kitchen. Like
It's been that way for years.
right, but it's like Dombrowski was there, and Dombrowski has lived. I mean, you talk about someone who has full throttle tattooed on his hog. Like he lives with his dick on the table. Like that's just what he does.
Mm-hmm.
And like the big complaint from everyone underneath him was like, we didn't feel like our opinion meant anything. And then he leaves, and then Heim comes, and then what's the complaint when he gets fired? It was like he valued our opinion way too much. He just let us walk all over him. That guy was a big pussy. That's exactly what they said when they fired him. So it's like, yeah, well, is anyone, literally anyone, aligned? Because even like we talk about the Warner stuff, Kennedy and Cora went out there when they fired Heim, and they were just like, yeah, we're getting anyone who's ever thrown a pitch, we're signing them this offseason. And it was just like, well, you don't even have a GM yet. You don't have a president of baseball operator, whatever the fuck, the chief of executive, whatever it is these days, CBO. Like what are you talking about? Like it's insane. Every time they talk, it's the complete opposite of what they said the last time they talked. To the point where, why listen to any of it? Then fucking Morosi's like, they're big players still with Montgomery. They just told the fan base they're lowering payroll. What sense does that make?
That was crazy.
Haben, yeah,
that was crazy.
Heyman.
I even
sorry to Morosi.
Yeah, it's Heyman. Heyman, and can I play that fucking clip? Because he even like contradicts himself in the clip.
Like he knew the news, and he's like, "Yeah, I don't really care."
He basically prefaced it by being like, "Listen, I know this doesn't make any fucking sense, but hear me out, my G."
He goes on like a 5-minute rant about Montgomery's wife after he brings up the Red Sox.
Yeah,
it
was crazy.
Red Sox info. We're definitely going to get to that. I think the Red Sox still have a big move in them. I know I was on this about a month ago. I do it weekly now. I think this is number 19. And I predicted the Red Sox were going to do something big. I think it was about a week ago. They said that the payroll may not go up from last year. Look, they seem to be changing their mind a lot. They said early on they're full throttle. We'll see what that means. Then the payroll may not be going up. At this point, after I don't know if they call it a fan fest, but certainly there was some fan communication in which the fans booed and reminded them they've finished last 3 out of the last 4 years. I do think the Red Sox will do something. Nearest to the Yankees. Red Sox.
What the fuck does that mean, dude? Like, he's like, yeah, the Red Sox just had their fan fest and they got booed, and that reminded them that they finished in last place. They were completely unaware of that prior to the getting booed part. And, Tom Warner said full throttle. So I'm expecting the Red Sox to do something huge. Meanwhile, like 4 days prior, Sam Kennedy's like, yep, we are not spending a fucking dime, dude. We are actually lowering. We're going to trade Kenley. We're going to lower payroll. If you're good and you play for this team, you're gone. See ya.
Out of here.
Out of here, dude. Yeah. I don't know what the fuck John Heyman's smoking, but Jesus Christ, my man. Like, it'd be one thing if he was unaware that Sam Kennedy said that, but he acknowledges, like, hey, I know ownership said that they're lowering payroll, but the hey man, listen, I got the scoops and I got one for you.
You know when they were lying.
Yeah. You know what he's
doing.
doing.
No. Do not say this. Do not say he's leveraging the Red Sox so that the Rangers will
He's just yapping, bro. He's made this prediction every single week, all offseason. But I do think it's part of it. I think he's used the Red Sox in every free agent rumor for multiple years now.
Yeah, he has done that.
I'm not talking about multiple years. I'm talking about right now. Again, after like the rest of the industry already didn't think the Red Sox were serious. They heard Kennedy say that. They're the ones fielding his phone calls. They know that's not real gas. They know that's not correct.
You think Heyman cares? Heyman's like, fuck it, I'll say it. He'll tweet out every team in the league.
Like, he's like, Heyman is treating this like Sam Kennedy is trying to protect like a surprise party. Like, surprise! We signed Montgomery and Blake Snell and Jorge Soler. Woo! Got you guys. We got you. You thought that we weren't going to spend money? Woo! We fucking spent all the money. $500 million in one offseason. I know it's not the Dodgers guys, but $500 million. That's a lot of money, right? Anyway, see you at the World Series parade. Like, that's just not how it works. Like, an executive is not going to come out there and say we're lowering payroll and then be like, actually, we're pivoting. We're pivoting to spending money. We're a lot of
that
money.
Would kind of.
He said a big move. Like, he didn't just say, hey, it would have been way more reasonable, right? If he's like, listen, I know the Red Sox said that they're going to lower payroll and everything, but I don't think that necessarily means that they're done. Like I can still see them making a move here or a move there to at least improve the roster for 2024. Then we sit there and we say, all right, yeah. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Like maybe they do add a right-handed bat somewhere. Maybe there is a trade somewhere for a cost-controlled starter. But like, I think and go. No, I don't want to. This is not a lie. It's more of a contradiction. I'm at least going to give Breslow the out on this. But in his introductory press conference, he referenced making like trades that like like we're going to make risky trades. Like we're going to make trades that might hurt. But like. So immediately we all assume the obvious. It's Meyer, it's Teal, it's Anthony, it's York, whatever. And then right after winter weekend, I think it was Jen McCaffrey's piece where they were like, yeah, like they might make trades, but they're not moving Teal, Meyer, or Anthony. So
to be fair,
what the fuck do you expect to get in return if you're not going to trade one of those guys? And I'm not advocating for trading one of those guys, but if you're going to get a frontline starter, like that's where the conversation starts. So what? And that's probably why nothing has ever gone anywhere. Sure, you're going to pick up the phone. You're going to call the Marlins about their arms. You're going to call Seattle about their arms. And those are the names you're going to hear. And then when you say they're not guys that we're looking to move, then they're going to fucking hang up the phone. Like, why wouldn't they?
The first trade he made was Alex Verdugo to the Yankees. I'm only talking about Breslow. Breslow shouldn't get the shit the front office deserves. Like I'm
not giving him shit.
I'm not talking saying, to you. I'm not talking. I know you're not.
Just saying like
everyone else.
It's more than just full throttle to lowering payroll that we're being told one thing, but it's actually another thing.
Yeah, Breslow. I'm talking more to the people listening, like because Breslow did get booed, and it's like he's working.
He walked out.
It's the same thing
He introduced Breslow with Sam Kennedy. Like there was no time to like cheer Breslow and then.
Well, I don't think I think people hate Breslow the same way they hate Heim. There's still a portion of the fan base that thinks it's on them. Like
Heim 2.0.
Those people definitely still exist. Yeah, that's right. Trading Verdugo to the Yankees, again, the biggest piece from the Mookie deal to the Yankees isn't a small deal. Like that.
Who do we get in that deal? Miguel Cairo?
Yeah, Kareem Garcia and Miguel Cairo. But that's not like a small deal. And not like you're trading with the Yankees, a player who was some people's favorite player on the team. Like that was always insane. But the Verdugo Red Sox people.
Steve, standing ovation.
Big Verdugo.
Standing ovation, man.
So that's where it's like, that's not a minor move at all. And then he trades Chris Sale, which again, you talk about, all he's talked about is pitching, and he trades away one of his like 3 pitchers for a second baseman. Like those weren't small deals. So just talking him, just because he hasn't traded one of the top prospects, I don't know that you can argue he hasn't made deals that haven't hurt, even if it doesn't hurt you.
But have they helped? Have they helped the team?
I think so. I look at both those trades as I like them more for our side than the other. Now, could Chris Sale go out there and be like a piece that helps the Braves win a World Series? For sure. But we also stink. So it's like, do I think Chris Sale would have helped us win another World Series? And nothing against him. The rest of the team's not ready to do that. And that's clearly how some of the people in the building feel. The rest of them think Wiley Abreu is going to win like MVP this year, which I hope he does. That'd be sick.
I genuinely forgot who we got for Verdugo.
Dick Fitz.
That was the deal.
Greg
we got
Weiser.
2 other, and one other guy.
Then Noah, I'm blanking on his last.
Oh, like the rookie.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The guy drafted this last year. He's like 6'8" and throws 110 miles an hour. So it's like, that's the other part of it. We haven't seen what Breslow and Bailey can do yet with arms. You can talk about the number 29 farm system for arms all you want. We have no idea what they're going to do. Now, the Cubs system wasn't rated highly either when Breslow got there. Bailey took guys that truly stunk and look what he did for Kevin Gausman. Kevin Gausman's a much richer man just because he happened to meet Andrew Bailey. I'm not saying and Logan Webb. Right, yeah. But Logan Webb hasn't gotten paid on the free open market yet, so that's why I pointed to Gausman.
I think he signed an extension, right?
Sure, yeah. Like again, if we want to talk about things to knock Heim on, Gausman's it for sure. Not picking up the phone there. Signing Kevin Gausman fixes so many of the problems we've had in recent years. And we didn't pick up the phone, which is, I think, by far the worst crime Heim committed. Everything else, I feel like I can find an excuse for pretty easily.
That's where I was like saying the 2022 thing, where like you could picture it being a different world even if it is Trevor Story plus Kevin Gausman, and they go out and they do, maybe you get a right fielder. Maybe it's not Christian Arroyo and JBJ playing right field for you, right? You could picture maybe this whole thing playing out differently in some way. But I think all those moves that Breslow's made this offseason, if you just spent money and you had gone and done these other things, everyone sees the picture. Everyone understands it. It's just now you look at it and you realize, all right, basically all these moves were for guys with long-term team control. You're building for something later. And it's just continued building on something later at that point. And Nicholas Judas was the name we were looking for.
Judas, yeah. Where I knock Breslow is he comes out and he says, we're not trying to sacrifice wins today, small wins today for big wins tomorrow. No one's asking you to do that. Like literally nobody. Like that's where it's like the qualifying offer thing's insane when they're talking about potentially trading prospects. Like that makes no sense to me. But Montgomery doesn't have that stipulation. Imanaga doesn't have that stipulation. And he got way less than everyone projected.
We got that leaked, didn't we? We found out 2 years they had offered the first or a 2-year deal with higher guaranteed money. Red Sox put that out within 3 days?
Oh, immediately. Yeah.
Come on.
So it's like you could sign Montgomery tomorrow. And I could see the other side of it too. If you don't want to be the team that overpays Jordan Montgomery, in a vacuum, I can understand that. Based off everything else you've said and done, you have no excuse to miss on that. None.
And the fact that your biggest issue is you've needed innings, right? So you have Lucas Giolito. If you're not going to go get an ace, we can do all of this without going over the luxury tax, even if it costs you Kenley. Because in all reality, why is Kenley Jansen and Chris Martin on this team? There's no reason. There's none.
So I think you have to keep one.
Even still, personally, for me at this point, why? Neither of them are contributing. You don't care. You've said you don't care about this year. So why are you holding on to 2 older relievers that are a free agent in a year? Go deal them. Go all the way out. If you don't give a fuck and you're not going to spend up to the luxury tax, if you're not serious about competing, fuck it. Fuck it all. Get rid of them. Go bring bring as many prospects in as you want. Maybe then you actually make a trade. Maybe then you feel comfortable enough to make a deal. I don't care if they're flyers for starters or whatever you feel. But that's where things get disconnected because Heim made those moves. Those were moves with the belief, oh, fuck, we're pushing in a year. At the very least, maybe it's even at the trade deadline, right? Maybe at that point, but when John Henry comes in and tells you, Heim, you have no more money to spend. I know you're 2 games from being in a playoff spot. You have no money. I know you have 3 starters, but you have no money. Like, that's where this all gets weirder and weirder. And that's where you have to go and look at John Henry because he cuts off the faucet. You can't get better at this past deadline. All right, well, fuck, you fire the guy. Then you act like you're going to spend big and then you don't. That's where none of it adds up.
I think Kenley gets dealt now that Hader signed. I think it would have been silly to trade him before that because there are still teams that need a closer. Martin, I think you genuinely get more for at the deadline than you would right now.
Maybe.
He could get hurt. You can risk it. But I genuinely think he's the type of guy you get more for in July when there's a surprise team. That's the other part, too. You add a guy like Montgomery. Does it push you to 101 wins? No, not necessarily. But if you outproduce in the first half, now at the deadline, you are buying. Maybe the Mariners stink. And that now they're more willing to trade one of your arms for Rafael in New York. Things change. No one thought the Mariners were going to trade for Castillo with the Reds when they did. They were better earlier than they expected. That's how teams operate. Things happen in the middle of the season. You move a little bit. I'm not saying change your entire fucking philosophy every 6 months, which is what they've been doing since Dombrowski left.
And Coley to go.
Even before that, I mean, before Dombrowski left, they were saying we don't pay pitchers over the age of 30, and then they gave David Price $217 million. That was Dave Dombrowski. They have no idea what the fuck they're doing.
But to go to Coley's
I think that may have been like, I'm trying to pay you less. Like for Dombrowski, I give benefit of the doubt.
No, I believe that was like a report that John Henry was like, we do not pay pitchers over the age of 30. Like that was a thing.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah, they thought it was a bad
Dombrowski.
Yeah. Also paid John Lackey too. You know, before then. But
you know what's a good investment? You know what's a good investment? The DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL playoffs, is bringing you an offer that'll make the playoffs electrifying. New customers can bet just $5 on any game and get $200 instantly in bonus bets. What team is Jared Goff on?
He's on Lions.
He's on the Lions?
Uh-huh.
I like Jared Goff.
Love him. You can't stop watching him.
I mean, like I said, former teammate of mine. What's
That's
that face
right.
for, Tyler?
Teammate?
Yeah, we played in a celebrity softball game together.
All I think about when I hear Jared Goff is that video of him. What was it? They finally won a game. And then like his girlfriend's on the Sports Illustrated shoot, and that went super viral. You remember that?
No, I don't remember that at all. I do remember, though, when I was the ring girl at Rough and Rowdy at the Super Bowl in 2019, that Jared Goff's friends have a fantasy football league where the person that finishes in last place had to fight in Rough and Rowdy. So I forget the kid's name, but he finished in last place in Jared Goff's friends fantasy football league, and he fought at Rough and Rowdy at the Super Bowl, and he won, which is pretty cool.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, go Lions. Anyways, download the DraftKings Sportsbook app right now. Use the promo code Jared, Jared. New customers can bet just $5 to get $200 instantly in bonus bets. Only on the DraftKings Sportsbook with the promo code Jared.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Visit www.1800gambler.net. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas, 21 plus age varies by jurisdiction, void in Ontario. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. See dkng.com/football for eligibility and deposit restrictions, terms, and responsible gaming resources.
What were you about to say, Tyler?
To Coley's point, the Cole Reagans move last year with the Roldis Chapman, right? Like they got a guy who was like nasty for them down the stretch and looks like maybe a mid-rotation starter moving forward, maybe more, some people think. So maybe that's what you buy off Chris Martin. The other half of it would be the dude got a Cy Young vote last year. Are you really ever going to have him look at a better point? Like he's coming off one of the best reliever seasons in the modern era. Like it's that ridiculous. But I don't know. It all adds.
If someone wants to pay for him right now, I have no problem with that. Like I'm with you in the sense that like I would again. What do you think? Because they did this with Sale too. If they had just not signed Chris Sale early, he would have been substantially cheaper when he hit the open market. Do you think Devers gets 341 this or 343, whatever he signed for this offseason? I don't necessarily think so. I think he's still unsigned, honestly.
It's a good question. Yeah, I don't know if he gets that at his age. Still, I think someone's getting close to that number. But at the end of the day, Rafael Devers, and they knew they had the Red Sox by the fucking, whatever you want to call it.
Right.
They were screwed. They knew that the Red Sox had nothing left by the balls. Yes, that's a good way. Good way to frame it. By the nuts. But that's where they were. So yeah, they fucked them, and that kind of is what it is. And even still, though, with the Red Sox, and you were in the place to make that deal, you can make that deal and do plenty of other things. So that's why I don't worry about the Rafael Devers thing. It's more of a representation.
No, I don't, but I do when they start pointing to stuff like that. Is like, well, we did that. What else are we supposed to do? It's like, what are you talking about, man? Like, how is that the comeback? It's so bad.
Yeah, that's stupid reasoning. I think they just look at it and it's, like you said, it's a distraction. It's just something, we've done it before. Congratulations. Anyone can pay one fucking guy. It doesn't make you anything special. You're the Boston Red Sox. Should be at least sporting a team up to the luxury tax. You choose not to do that anymore. But I think even when you talk Kenley Jansen and Chris Martin here, well, now they're already framing it that they want Garrett Whitlock to start again and Tanner Houck to start again. Josh Winkowski, we're talking Josh Winkowski, the starter. Are you friggin' kidding me? Like that's the route we're going.
Criswell.
What'd you say?
And Cooper Criswell.
Yeah. Enjoy AAA with that option. No, thank you. But that's kind of the way they're paving all this and trying to, use it. So it's like, are they going to hold on to Kenley and Chris Martin just so they have a bullpen? I think Kenley's already gone, but that's what it is. They're framing this year as development for them to see what they have. The truth is we all saw you had something already. You have Cutter Crawford, Tristan Casas, Brian Bayo, Jaron Duran. There's something there. There's a young core that evolved that was good enough to keep you in the race through 4 months last year. On the backs of a broken James Paxton, who eventually fell apart, on, Chris Sale, who you didn't have for a large portion of that, you were able to get there. Just a little help, and you could be in that playoff race. Just a little. They're not even willing to bend that far. You told Teoscar Hernandez, one of the few position players you'd have interest in, that you couldn't even, we like you a lot, and maybe we'd be even willing to give you more, but for now it's 228. So you're giving up on players you like early just because you can't shed money. When you have all the way until the end of the season to figure out the luxury tax or whatever it is. Or even the end of the offseason. I'm worried they don't even know the rules sometimes anymore.
God. Jake, how you feeling about this Red Sox team?
Shit fucking sucks, man. I was in the Garden last Friday when the whole winter weekend thing was going down.
Yeah.
Just trying to like innocently catch a Celtics game, and I'm just seeing the notifications pop up on my phone like Red Sox president calls whole Red Sox fan base liars, like team's not spending any money next year. Fucking Celtics lose their first game at home. I'm just like, when is this shit gonna end?
It's tough. It's tough. I mean, I get it. Like whenever I don't go outside often, but when I do, I've said it before. People don't say, "Hey, how's things? How's it going? How you been? What's new?" They say, "What the fuck is wrong with the Red Sox?" They say, "What are the Red Sox doing?" That's what I get when I leave my house. Go anywhere. When I go to Blockbuster to go rent an N64 video game, guy at the counter, that'll be $3.99. But what the fuck are the Red Sox doing? And I'm like, buddy, I don't know.
You're a liar.
I don't know.
You're a liar, Jared.
I go to the mall and I go to Cricket Wireless to get a new cell phone. And they're like, that'll be $39.99. But also, what the fuck is up with your Red Sox? And I'm like, buddy, if I knew, I'd tell you. If I could do something about it, I would. I'm miserable every day. Sucks.
Can we talk about too? They're talking about Kyle Teal like he's going to reinvent the catcher position. Like
Yeah.
I get being high on your own prospects. Me and Tyler do it plenty.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure Kyle Teal is going to be fine. I haven't seen a single. I read a lot about that draft pre-draft. I don't remember anyone being like, "There's a Joe Mauer and Buster Posey fucked 30 years ago, had a kid, and he's in this draft." Like I don't remember that.
Jason
So
Kendall. That's the comp, right?
Yeah, like what? Like we're putting. It feels absurd to put like the face, the fate of the franchise on Kyle Teal because they said that. They're like,
that's why I said like the Red Sox have the blueprint and they're just doing it backwards. In 2007, they had made the big trade for Beckett the year before. They already had Manny and Ortiz. They had Youkilis. And then they were like, all right, we're a pretty damn good team. Like, think about it this way. Think about how fucking crazy this is. The Red Sox in 2007 went wire to wire, first place, and then outside of that series against Cleveland, were pretty much virtually untouched in the playoffs, won the World Series, swept the fucking thing. They went into that season being like, we have not one, but two 40-year-old starting pitchers that we are hoping to get at least 33 starts out of each. And then they did. Like, that's how that team was constructed. But the main point is they had this, like they had spent the money. They had pieces come up like the Red Sox do right now, like Tristan Casas and Jarren Duran and the Cutter Crawfords of the world. But they made the trade for the big pitcher the year before. They had the big money free agent slugger there already in Manny Ramirez. And then that's when Pedroia came up. And then Ellsbury came up. And then that's when they take off, like when they have those guys.
They had one of the biggest signings of the offseason.
Daisuke Matsuzaka and J.D. Drew. They spent a lot of money that offseason. And they were pissed for finishing in third. They finished in third place. And they were like, God fucking damn it. We will never finish below first place. Won't happen. If we finish in second, we better be the wild card. And they usually were. Like, the Red Sox would finish in second place, but they would win 95 fucking games when they finished in second.
Yeah.
But it's like they finished in third place and they were like, enough of this losing. Go get me the best pitcher in Japanese baseball history. Go get me the best defensive right fielder who can also hit 20 home runs and 30 doubles and drive in 80 runs. Go get me J.D. Drew right now. And they did that. Oh, Daisuke needs a fucking buddy? Go get me the best relief pitcher in Japan. They'll be best pals. He's going to be an all-star. Go get him. And then they did it. And then they won the World Series.
when did they trade for Coco? Was that in 06?
06.
Yeah, it was Andy Marte.
Sure, yeah, but they had and Justin Masterson, but they had already done it.
No,
Like-
Masterson was. We just fucking talked about this.
Oh, that was
Coley.
Victor Martinez. I know.
Yes.
I know. That's why I said it again, because I was like, we just talked about this.
We just talked about this.
But they had already, you know what I mean? They had made the moves. They've done all like the subtracting moves. It's insane. It's genuinely insane behavior. And I think the new guy, I don't think anyone there outside of Heim liked Yoshida. I don't think a single person wants him on this
They
team
hate
now
him.
that Heim's gone. Yeah,
They
it's insane.
despise Yoshida
It's
in this
insane.
organization. I could not agree more with Coley. I really do think that's the case.
What makes you say that?
Because, Breslow comes out and, like, early on, he's like, yeah, we really don't buy into Yoshida's defensive metrics. Like, we really think, he's fine out there. Like, Fenway Park, the monster kind of makes things a little tough out there, examining that kind of stuff. Every move, everything they do otherwise says, put him at fucking DH. Don't even think about it twice. That dude is not touching the grass unless I'm dying.
Put him on the first plane out of here. Like, I think they're still trying to trade him.
He's being floated. It's just, is anyone going to take on the contract? Probably not at this point, and that's just what it is. But I think you saw enough with Yoshida in the first half. He was one of the better hitters in baseball.
He was still like 8th in baseball and batting average. Like, he was not some horrible player.
No.
It's insane that they're like, all of our problems were in the left. If we just
he's making $18 million bucks.
It's nothing. Reese Hoskins didn't even play last year. He just got 17. It's absurd. Yeah. Like, there's nothing that says Yoshida after a full year in the States, a full season of all that travel. Like, people don't really, they take
Dude,
he
played in the fucking World Baseball Classic. They didn't lose a game. They didn't lose a game. Like, he played in like exhibition games and then played in the whole tournament where he was max effort for the entire month of March to go unbeaten in the World Baseball Classic.
Here at the All-Star break, Masataka Yoshida, 316, 382, 492, 136 weighted runs created plus. Legit one of the better hitters in baseball. Get him out. But it's also we're acting like what happened was surprising. Alex Cora told you in spring training, he's like, it is a necessity for us to be careful with him because, in Japan, it's a different playing schedule. You have every Monday off. The travel's way different. He's like, we got to be careful. He's going to wear down. He wore down, and now people are like, see, he fucking blows. This guy sucked. We knew it all along. Come on.
They take the train to road games in Japan. They never change time zones. It's always the same. It's absurd to be like, nah, he needs to be completely adjusted. Even if you look at Ohtani, and Ohtani was younger and always projected to be better. His rookie season was not the guy we've been talking about these last 3 years. It just wasn't. I remember charting Masataka Yoshida last year. He had more home runs after the end of May than Ohtani did his rookie year. Like, it is not the same. And he was still pretty fucking good. And it's just like, if we get this asshole out of left field, everyone else will remember how to. Tristan Casas could not grab a ball to save his life last year because Yoshida was lurking around in left field. Like, what are they talking about? If Rafael Devers, there was so much pressure on him to field every ball that he just couldn't do it because he knew if it got to Yoshida, it was going to get booted over the wall. Like, what are we talking about? What has happened where it's like, we got to slander the guy who doesn't even hear a slander? That's what they're doing. Like, it's absurd.
Like, don't get me wrong, Yoshida's range is definitely limited. But the only
who gives a fuck?
Yeah, the only bad play I ever remember was the one that hit the light, and that was just a weird play. He makes the routine plays. If the ball's hit at him, he catches it.
They won 2 World Series with Manny playing with headphones in.
Yeah.
He had sunglasses with headphones built into them. Correct. He was taking a piss on the field. Like, he's cutting off throws from our center fielder.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we need a stout defensive left now. I've never heard anything more insane in my life.
Well, in defense of Manny, he limited the running game. Like, you couldn't run on Manny. He would lead the league.
No, you couldn't.
He would lead the league in offensive outfield assists every single fucking year because it's like
every year.
They're like, oh, this guy's an idiot. Like, this guy's not paying attention. And then he would just gun you down. And like, he would throw people out legitimately without even trying. Like, he wasn't actually trying to get you. He was just trying to get the ball in. And then next thing you know, you're out.
Like, you're out of here. We've seen, like, Cespedes was awful in left. I've never seen, and he got traded midseason, but I've never seen anyone have a tougher time. Hanley was way too lonely out there. He had no idea what was going on. Yoshida's not that bad.
He's below average. We get it, but he's not. You're not going to sit there and cry. Kyle Schwarber,
He's not
played
a
left
liability.
field. I look at Kyle Schwarber. You want to see fucking horrendous, awful terror in left field? Go look at his highlights in Philly this past year. They were so bad they had to just say stop it. Yoshida, he's just below average. When your whole team sucks defensively, that's when you start complaining about stuff like that. But hey,
Right.
Trevor Story's back. He may not hit, but damn well we know he can play defense.
It's not going to hit. Yeah. He's already a huge upgrade there. I think Grissom's going to be a fine defensive second baseman. Not elite, but not bad either.
Casas will be better.
Casas, I can't imagine he'll be that bad. I mean, what was he like? Legitimately second worst in defensive runs saved?
I think it was third.
Yeah. Like just brutal. And Devers, he is what he is. He didn't get a single cent of that contract because of his glove, and he's not going to get better. Especially the only time I remember him ever getting better was he would make a mistake and Xander would just go over and rub his head and tell him he'll be okay. And Trevor Story's not going to do that. And that's not his job to do that either, but it's just not going to happen.
I will say it felt like Devers was better once Story got to shortstop. I think that will go a long way than having Kike Hernandez next to him, where he was just like, what the fuck is this guy doing? He's not playing baseball next to me. That's the reality. Like, Trevor Story should be able to, at least even from a range perspective, help out. But we know the range isn't what it is for Raffy. It's the routine plays. That's what pisses you off. He'll make the hard play over and over again. He's just like a ground ball. He's like, holy fuck, how do I figure this out? It's like the hardest thing he's ever seen in the world. The ball hit right at him.
He also won't just make one error on a play. He'll make the initial error and then try and overcompensate and make a much worse error to try and cover up for his initial error that wasn't even that bad to begin with. Like, again, that Astros series last year where they just kept hitting the ball at him, it was very rude. They were like, this guy is so in his own head. That was when he was like crying on the Gatorade bottle. Like, he was genuinely like, I will never catch another ball again. And they just kept hitting it at him and he kept not fielding it. That was like, all right, yeah, this guy's Cora's probably making fun of him, which I don't blame him. But it's like that.
The camera just focused on him for half the inning.
Yeah,
they weren't even showing the game anymore.
It was tough. It was what, the year after Houston had the series where they just kept hammering him with fastballs. He didn't hit any of those Astros. I'm starting to turn on them for how they've treated my son over these last couple of seasons.
Yeah, that was wild that year where he just couldn't hit a fastball.
And then the Yankees were like, we're going to try it, and it didn't work at all. He just started teeing off on Garrett Cole again. He was like, no, I see your fastball just fine, bucko. I have no problem with you.
Anyway, shout out to Blue Moon.
But yeah, team
even
stinks.
if you love beer, there are some moments that you want to enjoy it without the alcohol. Celebrate those times with Blue Moon's new non-alcoholic Belgian white, Belgian style wheat brew. It's for when you want to drink your favorite beer without the alcohol. For me, sometimes I want to drink a little beer during the podcast, but I, got to be without the alcohol. So I'll just crack open a nice little non-alcoholic Blue Moon, talk some socks with my pals. That doesn't mean, during this season, what are you doing, Tyler?
I was looking for a beer prop.
I was going to say, you just showed me mayonnaise.
Yeah, it's old. Gerard Mayo's mayonnaise.
Why is it black?
I got it in 2013 and I never used it.
So it turned black?
Well, he signed it.
So okay.
So you think his signature turned it black? Is that what you're saying?
No.
Yeah.
I don't know what these dark things at the bottom are. I don't know if there's some form of
this is not a ringing endorsement for the mayonnaise.
Well, listen, it's 10 years old. I bet it can't be that bad. I'd open it, but
open it.
Please do not open it.
This is my key to retirement. This
open
is
it.
The head coach of the New England Patriots.
Open it. Is there a
obviously has a seal.
Yeah.
I don't want to die.
Take the seal off.
I can't do that.
All right. Next week on Name Redacted, Tyler takes a seal off and smells Gerard Mayo's 10-year-old mayonnaise.
Oh. It may kill you.
It feels wrong.
Yeah. I had plenty of Blue Moons flowing today at the house. Actually, my kitchen pretty much smells like Blue Moon right now.
So you're drunk?
That's nice.
No, it's non-alcoholic.
Oh. Excuse me.
Tomorrow night, I will be having some people over for the Royal Rumble. There'll be some Blue Moons flowing. I'll have the non-alcoholic option for them, but I imagine that they are going to want to go with the alcoholic option. But again, the non-alcoholic option will be for up for grabs at my Royal Rumble party tomorrow night. Inspired by the beer that you already love and available year-round, a Belgian white, Belgian-style wheat brew that tastes like drinking, even if it's not. Crafted with Valencia orange peel and coriander. It tastes balanced and refreshing. Nothing compares to the great taste of a Blue Moon non-alcoholic Belgian white, Belgian-style wheat brew. Blue Moon made brighter. Get Blue Moon non-alcoholic Belgian style wheat brew delivered to you by visiting get.bluemoonbeer.com/Jared for delivery options. That is get.bluemoonbeer.com/Jared. Blue Moon made brighter. Celebrate responsibly. Blue Moon Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado. Non-alcoholic malt beverage contains less than 0.5% alcohol per volume. What else? What's on the Milliken manifesto?
We already hit on the John Heyman stuff in terms of anything from Winter Weekend. I think we hit on everything
from Winter Weekend.
I don't think so. We hit on the lie. We hit on payroll.
Were there any like stories that came out like from people being there?
Andrew Bailey had the quote that, kind of circulated on Twitter about him feeling like they didn't need to add any arms. But what else is he going to say? It's a slight to say, yeah, we need to add an ace or something like that. He's not going to shit on his guys.
No.
Besides that, Kyle Bodie got signed, as someone in the front office. That's a pretty big deal, in my opinion.
Yeah. Shout out Driveline. I think he's just taking on an advisor role. He's still going to be at Driveline.
Yeah, so he's working basically as a senior advisor. People don't know he was the director of pitcher initiatives and pitching coordinator for the Reds in 2019. Teams wanted him before that. He went there for a couple years. The front office changed. He ended up leaving because they saw things differently. There were a bunch of teams trying to get him after that. The Cubs wanted him. Breslow wanted to work with him then. And, there's proof in his work. Look at the Reds rotation right now. Good draft picks are part of the reason for that. But they went from 28th to 8th while he was there. And they were bottom 6 in expected ERA. They were top 6 by the time he was out. So you add him to the group. Hopefully now the Red Sox can develop some pitchers. Driveline initially, obviously it's changed a lot over the years. Their big thing was adding velocity. We know last year with the Cubs, no minor league system had arms that threw harder than the Cubs. That's fastball velocity. So Kyle Bodie, Yordani Monegro, become best friends. Teach him to start throwing some heat, and then we might have something cooking.
I mean, for as much negativity as there is surrounding the Boston Red Sox, like having Breslow, Bailey, and Bodie, the new killer bees, in the same roof, I like that a lot. It's maybe not something that's going to make you excited for 2024, but for the future projection of the organization, that is something to be excited about for sure. Like,
that's the stuff you should be doing.
Like having Bill James in-house in like the early 2000s, it's kind of the same thing, having Bodie, Breslow, and Bailey together.
And, Justin Willard, who's the pitching, director of pitching at this point, he's also in the mix there. And John Schreiber's been working at Driveline all offseason on a cutter. Nick Pivetta, they did the whole breakdown. He spent his offseason at Driveline. So there's connections there. This is just them trying to catch up. You hope to develop pitching. This is the way you go about it. And I think where you probably see the biggest impact may not even be at the major league level. I think they're going to have one of those drafts like the Angels did a couple years ago, where they
just take all pitchers.
And they're going to just load the farm system and say, fuck it, take as many shots until we hit on 2 or 3 guys. And then just ride out and hope you can, start to have a consistent pipeline going. That's really the only way.
Yeah, I wouldn't hate that. I mean, because they don't even, it's not even, when everyone says that they don't develop pitchers, when's the last time that they drafted a fucking pitcher in the top 3 rounds?
It was 2021, if I recall correctly.
What round? 3rd?
Yeah, it was 3rd round. Elmer Rodriguez Cruz, 4th round, 2021. Excuse me.
Yeah, so
that doesn't count.
No, that doesn't. He doesn't throw hard. That's kind of the issue. He has pitchability, but he never actually started, carrying some real velocity.
Where was Furbush? He was relatively
Dalton Furbush was a 2nd rounder, maybe. No, he was
later.
3rd. No, he was either 2nd or 3rd. He was the Casas draft. Casas was first. I think Furbush was second, and then Nick Decker was third.
Decker was definitely involved in the top 3. Yeah.
Look at the 2018 draft for the Red Sox, Tyler.
I mean, they took Trey Ball 7th.
Yeah, Durbin Feldman was 3rd round. Decker was 2nd.
3rd round. Yeah. Okay, so flip flop Decker and Furbush.
So that's it, though.
Cole caught him. Thaddeus Ward was actually in the 5th round.
Thaddeus Ward. Yeah. The Rule 5 pick.
Nationals legend.
Also, isn't Furbush Dalton Furbush? All right. Durbin
Feldman. Yeah. Good work. We're at the point I just think that's his name.
Dalton Furbush is with the
free agent.
Pirates, maybe? Is a free agent?
Yeah, at least according to Wikipedia. Yeah, he spent 2023 mostly in Oakland. Actually, not a bad year, it looks like, either.
Yeah, I mean, he was what did he set the saves record for TCU?
TCU, yeah, he was just money there.
He was supposed to let me live out my Carson Fulmer dream.
Well, the whole thing with him was that he threw fucking shed and then he didn't anymore, right?
Yeah, just he became like a mid-90s guy. But that was pitching development.
Still fucking hard, yeah. Like, I mean, at the time, the narrative was he's going to be a triple digits guy. Like, he was trending upwards with velocity.
They were like, he's going to help out his draft year. They thought he was going to pull a Chris Sale. Like, this guy's going to come up and he'll be helping them in the playoff run.
Oh, yeah.
That was like the whole narrative.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, I'm rooting for the guy. He was super fucking nice.
Super nice.
Besides that, on the list of news we have going on, Rhys Hoskins and James Paxton, 2 guys. Hoskins, they never were even friggin' attached to. Let's be 100% honest here.
Which is insane.
That makes
insane.
Sense. But that's, Coley, to your point, in the whole outfield configuration, they don't think they need another impact right-handed bat, and it blows my mind. They don't think they need someone between Devers and Casas. And I'm looking at them and I'm saying, first off, your lineup is striking out a fuck ton this year. You have Trevor Story, Tyler O'Neill, Connor Wong. Those guys are all going to be 30% strikeout guys without even thinking. You're going to probably add Adam Duvall to the mix. That's another 30% strikeout guy. Like, you are going to, and Casas will K, and it's nothing against it. He's going to also walk. He's going to do his thing. But that's what Justin Turner offered you last year. So, hey, if it's not going to be Justin Turner's plate approach, at least give me some power. Hoskins is going to hit some damn bombs for you. But they don't think he fits because of the versatility stuff.
I think they think Abreu is going to be a top half of the order bat. And that pretty much everything is because a lot of those guys that weren't highly rated before COVID, and then they get the entire 2020 season in the minors just erased. Some people aren't buying what happened after that. Abreu, pretty much all of his production in the minors has come post 2020. He wasn't highly rated in the Astros system when he came over in the Vasquez trade. I think they believe he's kind of been like an 830, 840 OPS guy since 2021. That's what he was in the cup of coffee he had last year, the 28 games he played last year. I think they just think that's who they have. And I think they think like, oh, this is like, I think he's going to be like a 3 or 4 hitter for them, or at least that's what they think is going to happen.
I love Willie Abreu. I think he brings a lot to the table. I think he could be an everyday outfielder. I think if you're hoping he's doing that for you. And once again, it's not a right-handed bat, which factors into a lot of this as well when you talk about finding a long-term option. Devers and Casas, Masataka Yoshida, all lefties, right? Teal, Meyer, Anthony are all lefties. So like eventually you're going to need to find some actual impact from the right side as well here. Like that needs to be a part of this equation. Jarren Duran is another lefty. Willie Abreu is another lefty.
That doesn't bother me.
You need to have some split up at some point where you have somewhat of a balanced lineup here. You can't have 8 lefties in the lineup.
I've never actually bought that. I think that's an antiquated way of thinking. I think you could absolutely roll out 9 lefties, and I think it would be sick.
You don't think it would be
absolutely
teams would game plan against you?
Sure. I mean, most people throw right-handed.
True.
Like majority of humans are righties. So yeah, you good luck. Like you have one left. Like there are plenty of teams. Jock Peterson is, I don't know if it's official yet, but he's going to the Diamondbacks. Someone tweeted out all the rotations in the NL West. Everyone, like there are teams that have no lefties in their rotations. Like, and the ones that do have one. You're not facing that many lefties. You know what I mean? Rob Refsnyder has a job not because he's playing 140 games, it's because they need him for 40 games.
Yeah, I still think
we have the green monster.
left-handed.
That's why you have a green monster. That's the only reason why people in Boston think you need a right-handed bat. And if you can get like a Manny Ramirez, of course you do it. If you can get a Jim Rice, I'm not saying never have a righty. David Ortiz became David Ortiz because he used the monster. He was a lefty. You don't necessarily need a right-handed power bat. I would like one. They should have signed Rhys Hoskins. They also should have kept Masataka Yoshida in left field, but they aren't going to do that. So that's where it's like, all right, yeah, you have good hitters. They're all left-handed. I don't think it's a problem, honestly.
I think maybe regular season you could get away with it more, but I think as you work later in games, later into the season, where matchups become such a big deal in the playoffs, I don't know. I think you would have seen a team that was willing to go to such strengths if they felt like that strategy was that strong.
I'm not saying it's a strength. I'm not saying it's a strength. I just think it's kind of overblown, the righty-lefty thing.
Yeah, I think you could lean lefty and get by. I think when you're saying 8 guys they're hoping to be long-term pieces here are all lefty.
Those fucking Jays teams that beat the brains out of everyone, Batista, Encarnacion, Russell Martin.
I fell off
the other one I'm missing.
Quickly.
Edwin Encarnacion.
He said them second.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Who else was
Donaldson.
There? Oh, Donaldson. True. Yeah, I'm not saying righties are bad, but you could go all righty too.
I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm saying that they went predominantly right-handed.
Sure.
Pilar.
Yeah, I think it's completely overblown. Yeah, perfect. In a perfect world, you'd alternate lefty, righty the whole way down, and they'd all be really good. But like, if you're telling me Juan Soto and Corey Seager demand to play for the Red Sox, if they'll go 9 lefties deep, like you're gonna say no to that? Like, of course not. Like I don't get good hitters. If they happen to hit from the other side of the plate, great. If not, it doesn't bother. We also have the shortest home run to right field in baseball. As much as people want to harp on the monster, hooking it down the line is the shortest home run in right field in the game.
I think it's also why you see like people initially with Cody Bellinger were very like, because you look at the spray chart and it's like, I don't know if that's going to work at Fenway. And I will say for the Blue Jays going back, Justin Smoke, he was slugging at that point. They had Jose Reyes in that lineup, Ben Revere, whatever was left of him at that point. I don't know. At the end of the day, do I think it's a problem to be more on the left-handed side? No. When every one of your long-term pieces basically project to that, you do need to find some balance. That's where Vaughn Grissom maybe kind of fixes that a little bit. He's a right-handed bat, but I think it's why they're open to moving one of these outfielders and kind of sorting things out because there is a logjam there.
The outfielder they've been tied to moving the most is Rafaela, who is a righty.
Oh, no, I don't think. I disagree. I don't think Rafaela.
I think it's Duran.
Yeah, me too. I feel like we haven't heard Rafaela's name itself mentioned in rumors.
No,
I think that's more
I've seen
us.
a lot of Duran, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm more keen to selling on Duran, but if other teams don't want him, I get it. I definitely get it. He's 27. He's not like a young man.
As a Jarren Duran guy, I'll tell you, do I think he can recreate what he did last season? I don't. I don't believe that's who Jarren Duran is. I don't think he's going to be able to rack up that many doubles again, turn that many singles into doubles. And that's not, disregarding his speed or anything like that. But we still saw some of the ups and downs, and it was really boom or bust for him last year. It really wasn't consistent once again.
Yeah, I mean, he was an 828 OPS guy, 121 OPS plus. Like, if he can stay healthy and give you 110 OPS plus,
beautiful.
I would take that. I just don't know that that's what's like on. Hasn't played good enough defense to even justify 110. Like, I do think he needs to be 120 plus, and I don't know. He's just never done it. He's never done it at all. So they're relying on a lot of unreliable things when they don't have to. Again, this is their choice.
Correct.
Even Chapman, like, I would love to, if the plan was, we're going to put Yoshida in left, we're going to put Rafi at DH, and we're going to sign Matt Chapman. Now you have the best defensive left side of the infield in baseball. Like, I would argue that against anybody.
Yeah. You want to talk about someone that people don't even know if he's alive or not. Like, he's not been He hasn't been linked to a team.
No. Not one.
No. Like, when's the last time you saw a rumor about Matt Chapman? Probably like 4 years ago.
A's. Yeah, when he was getting traded to Toronto.
Yeah.
And he's good. I get the bat's dip. The glove hasn't. Like I would give him a smooch off the plane if we signed him. And I don't even know what his market is because he doesn't have one.
It's the Giants.
You could probably
right?
offer him like 4 for $80. He might take it.
Are you paying that just for a glove?
I think the bat's good enough where he's going to give you. It's the same bat as Trevor Story. Like I would definitely do that.
I think Story probably has a little bit more upside offensively.
Is there anything to base that off of?
I mean,
respectfully,
he's done it.
So is Chapman. I could say the exact same thing there.
You could say Chapman's been, 2022 was a 116 OPS plus. Like Trevor Story hasn't got there since 2019? If we're going back, right? I don't know. I think for the Red Sox, so admitting that Devers is a DH at this point, they're just not willing to do it. Yeah, the last time 120 OPS plus in 2020 for Trevor Story.
What's the admittance though? Like
that you paid $300 million for a DH.
I think that's after what they did to Ortiz every year, bringing him to the table and arguing over like $500,000. Like I think that's fine. I think that's perfectly okay. Devers is going to be a DH eventually, especially if Casas continues to be really good. Like he's not going to play third his whole career.
I think that they specifically keep Rafael Devers from being a DH just to avoid pissing off David Ortiz. Like imagine how fucking angry he would be if it's like, you motherfuckers. Motherfuckers.
It's illogical. You're making your team worse. Like Chapman brings a right-handed bat and immediately actually fixes your defense. Like if Grissom's average, you have a legitimate infield, like a solid to above average infield.
I agree.
And your lineup, like if Chapman and Story are hitting like 5-7 or something like that, in whichever order, I don't care which way you put them, that's not an easy lineup to get through the days they're hitting. There are going to be days where they both go 0 for 10 combined, no doubt. And that's where you hope other people step up like Devers and the top of the order.
Well, Chapman's a Boris guy, so you're not getting like a 4 for 80.
Who knows what he's getting? I know the Athletic at the beginning, Tim Britton projected him for 4 for 95. That was like at the beginning of the offseason when everything's peaches and roses. If the Giants are the only team offering money and no one wants to sign with them ever, could you get him for 4 for 80? Like you might be able to. Imanaga's was way cheaper than I expected. Rhys Hoskins, I think, was projected 1 for 14 in the same article. He got 2 at 17 per. Everything's kind of dropped since the top, and I don't know who's going to cave on Bellinger. I feel like he probably takes like 1+1. I don't think it's crazy 4 for 80. Just throw it out there. It's not going to be as embarrassing as the Yamamoto offer. I'll tell you that much.
The MLB Trade Rumors predictions has Chapman getting 6 years for 150.
Oh, that's not happening.
Yeah, that feels steep, but do they... I'm not even saying I agree with this, but if in their head they think Vaughn Grissom's actually their second baseman of the future, are they contemplating with Story and Meyer in a year maybe? That's what your infield is? And you're probably keeping Meyer short so he can reach whatever his ceiling is. But, there were some people who thought he was more of a third baseman when he got drafted. It's the Corey Seager conversation, right? But did they say maybe, Meyer can play shortstop, whatever, we'll move Trevor Story to third? I think he'd be losing out defensively, but he's going to be getting older at that point. Is that a way to preserve him? I wouldn't go that route, but is that how they hope to figure this thing out? Or do they think Vaughn Grissom a year from now is a 400 at-bats guy and he's playing left field some days, second base, third base here and there, and you're mixing and matching?
They had such a clear path with Xander to either move him to left or DH when Meyer was ready, and that just keep Story at second the whole time. We have all these extra holes now and nowhere to move an older Story. I'm not denying he can play short probably for the next 2-3 years. He's here for 5 more, including this year. Like he's not going anywhere anytime soon.
That's the tough part. In Story, you can't depend on the bat. I think the bat will be better this year. I think it'll probably be league average, I'm assuming. I'm hoping, right? If it's somehow worse.
I mean, buddy, He fucking 2023 and 43. Like, I feel like people don't realize like how many at bats he really got. Like, I feel
Ton
like
of
when you think back, you're like, yeah, no, he played. What he get like 50 plate appearances? No, he had 168 plate appearances over 43 games, and he hit 203 with a 566 OPS.
Yeah, that's not even playing baseball.
I'm not gonna come down on him for that because of all the circumstances. Like, this is the year that he has to put up, because you can look at coming into 2022. Okay, he didn't have like the full spring training, like the injuries, and then 2023 was basically a wash. You have the surgery. This is the year. Like, you had a healthy offseason. You're gonna have a full spring training. Like, I'm not gonna sit here and say that this should be this is what we look at as year one of the Trevor Story deal, but it's the first year that he's coming in the way that he intended to. So that's why I look at last year's offensive numbers and I'm like, no, I don't think that they're going to be anything close to that. I think I'm going to look more to maybe not I'm not expecting an OPS over 900. Like, I don't think we're going to see that again. But do I think he can come around 800? Yeah, I do.
I'd take 2022. If, maybe just a little bit more consistent. Don't do it in 10 days. I don't need you hitting, 3 home runs against the Mariners and then you're going cold for another 3-4 weeks. But it was a 102 OPS plus. If he does that this year and plays great defense, you'll be fine. You'll accept it. But that's the problem. The Red Sox are expecting him to hit like a middle of the order bat. That's not enough.
102 is like stinks. That stinks.
League average. You're hoping Trevor Story is a league average bat with great defense.
Yeah, that kind of stinks. That's not what you ran out of a guy. You ran out a guy who was better than that.
Agreed.
And you could have given him the same contract you gave him, like at the same time, the same day. Like, if you were called a different phone number, you have a better team. It's really that simple. And they chose not to. It's insane. Like, I get what you're saying from a baseball standpoint. Yeah, that's fine. As a fan, I can't accept that. You could argue, legitimately, through 2 years, if you compared the 2 years, the Trevor Story signing has been worse than the Kyle Crawford signing. Everyone holds up the Kyle Crawford signing as the worst thing that's ever happened to this franchise. Crawford was not this bad. He was bad. I'm not saying he was great. He was better than this. And he had trade value, as we know, because we fucking traded him. You couldn't trade this guy right now. I don't know who would take this on unless you were eating half the deal. He has to be much better this year. I can't be like, 102, great. I can't. Like that. The standards have to be higher.
I won't lie, dude. Wow, Carl Crawford really was ass in 2011. It was an 85 OPS plus. 85.
Bad.
Dude, what the fuck?
How many games did he play? 140?
130
games?
130.
130.
And then what,
yeah,
2012?
So literally the same. Same as what he's done over 2 years.
And then 2012, he had the elbow injury before he got traded, right? 108 OPS plus that year, but that's, somewhat on par with what Story was. Story was a league average hitter. So their first year, Story was the better player. You should be getting more out of that deal. That's the reality of the situation. But I think where the Red Sox are at, you're just hoping for him to be not Javier Baez.
At least Javi would be like funny. Like,
dude, he blows. Ban him from baseball.
If Story starts swinging at pitches that bounce like 20 feet in front of him, I'll at least laugh.
Okay. Say what you will about Trevor Story, right? Had nothing in that elbow last year as he's figuring it out. What is Javier Baez's excuse for a 62 OPS plus? What the fuck are we doing? Like, dude, what happened?
It's hilarious.
That's wild.
He doesn't care at all.
Like, at least Trevor Story could say he had a big procedure that year.
For sure, yeah. I'd much rather. As someone who was a Baez guy when he was available, I still think him and Cora would be better than him being in Detroit.
Well, he's retired.
But he wouldn't be this. Like, I've Story's for sure a better option, like by a lot, no doubt.
But when you look at Xander, and as much as people wanted to fucking tweet out his stats last year, kind of laughing at him, they looked pretty damn good by the end of the year once again.
So much, like, people hated Xander while he was here, like winning batting titles and shit. Of course they were going to, and he was an overpay like that. If the Red Sox gave him that contract, I would shit on the Red Sox just like I do for the contract they gave Devers. Like, I'm not saying act irrationally just for the sake of it, but like, there's just the lack of plan is more alarming than people. Everyone thought the plan was like, oh, they're going to trade Mookie Betts. They didn't have a plan after that. Like, there was, as we can see, looking at it 4 years later, they had no plan. None.
It's depressing.
Next on the Milliken
Super.
Manifesto.
Yep, please.
Any thoughts on James Paxton?
Nope.
None. I will say
it's a deal that is like
I have a point.
manageable, but like
Nope.
that comes down to he didn't like if you're gonna take a 1-year deal for similar money, are you gonna play for the Boston Red Sox or the fucking Dodgers, dude?
Easy. All I'm saying
what?
is, if it wasn't the Dodgers, he would have probably $15 million to come here. And I don't remember who said it, but at a time he was heavily ridiculed for it, for saying he would give the qualifying offer to James Paxton before he absolutely melted.
Well, this is less than the qualifying offer, so
This is correct, but let's up it because he took a little less to go to the Dodgers, right? So let's call it 15
how the
million.
fuck do you know that?
Let's just assuming he's going to the best team in baseball. It worked out pretty nicely.
Why are you assuming that he took less?
Well, if he were to come to Boston, you would have probably had to pay 15, right? Is that a crazy?
He signed for 15.
He signed for 12.
Oh, okay, then yeah. So it's way less than the qualifying offer.
Yeah,
what
so
the fuck?
Let me
Are
continue.
you sucking your own
No, I'm
dick
not.
over a narrative that doesn't even exist right now?
I'm just making a point.
It's a shitty point.
Let me finish before you call it shitty.
What's the QO right now? 19?
Yeah, right about there. I think it was right at 20, right?
Yeah, let's give him another 33%.
If he hadn't gotten hurt,
James Paxton, yeah.
If he had just maintained somewhat and didn't have the worst, post-trade deadline ever, 20 million was not that crazy of a statement.
I mean, it's not like him fucking sucking in the second half came out of nowhere.
He ran out of gas.
Dude just had his fucking arm reattached to his body. Of course he broke down.
When he makes the All-Star team this year.
No, give him the qualifying offer, though.
If he had stayed healthy, if he was okay, that was with the belief he wasn't going to die.
The Dodgers' plan isn't even for him to stay healthy this year. That's why they signed him for 12. They're going to have him pitch the first half, and then Kershaw's going to Clemens this shit and pitch the second half. That's all it is. They don't believe in him. Like, of course, no one was giving him 20.
No.
All I'm saying, as bad as it was, it's not that bad.
No, I'd rather try out Criswell, to be completely honest with you.
Over James Paxton?
He doesn't move the needle in one direction or the other. Like, if they're gonna sign someone really good. Don't just settle. That was the problem before, was we were just settling for the Klugers. And sure, it will work with a Waka. It'll work every once in a while, but if the pitching program is that good, either sign nobodies like Cooper Criswell and turn them into legitimate players, or go at the top of the market. If your big concern with Blake Snell is that he nibbles too much, we just talked about the 3 Bs, the fucking pitching dragon that we've built here. Fucking figure out, make the Cy Young winner better. Is that an option too? Feels like it should be.
All I'm saying with James Paxton, I would have taken him back at that money this year because it's clear at best you're either getting a mid-tier, Michael Lorenzen, Mike Clevenger, Hyojin Ryu, or you're trading for an arm. It's going to be, those are really the two options. I still think it's going to be, or Jacob Junis, right? That was the name Red Sox Stats threw out in his recent piece because him and Bailey have the connection. His brother's the pitching coach in AAA. But with James Paxton, if that was what you called it, at least I'd be like, there's some upside. I know that guy pitched with a 3.5 ERA through almost 15 starts. That's something you could flip at the deadline maybe this time. And I was an idiot. I said I didn't want to trade him. No, but I'll put my hand up. I was a fucking idiot, right? You trade him hopefully this time because you know damn well you're not going to compete, right? You're not making the playoffs.
I was screaming to trade James Paxton.
Had to trade
I'll tip my cap.
Screaming. I remember that rant. Like, it was literally, like, I literally was like, why the fuck is he still here? Screaming.
I'd argue my take makes even less sense now as well, because the fact that they never fucking spent, you're damn well not giving $20 million to James Paxton if you're going to have a lower payroll than you did the year before.
I'm surprised you didn't advocate to give him the fucking Garrett Cole contract.
No, but I would have offered James Paxton 12 to 14 million this year based on what it was if you were trying to compete and spend up to the luxury tax.
I would have too. I just, knowing where he signed and what he signed for, he's telling you, I wouldn't even entertain going back to the Red Sox.
You would have to give him 15.
And if it's a 1-year deal. Yeah, like what? Yeah.
Lastly, what do we got? Ryan Stanek. Today we found out that the Red Sox and Cubs are showing interest in him.
It's always the Red Sox and Cubs. I don't get it.
And then they sign with a completely different team.
Completely
two teams with money to spend that don't fucking spend usually.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. The Red Sox and Cubs are interested in Ryan Stanek. Breaking news, Ryan Stanek to the Mets, 2 years, $15 million.
Another move that really doesn't make a ton of sense to me either. They probably just want to flip him at the deadline. But if you have Justin Slayton, you have all these arms, Isaiah Campbell, the bullpen's already pretty loaded for what it is.
Mm-hmm.
Another arm like this, like you're obviously thinking you're going to trade Kenley here, but I don't know. Might as well let the younger arms cook at that point. But I guess you need some assets to move at the deadline when you sell.
Yeah, I mean, I think with every year the bullpen should have a new injection of fringe guys you want to see if you can, like an Isaiah Campbell and young guys that, and hopefully you already have. Like, I mean, the Yankees have had the blueprint for a dominant bullpen. And we've just been like, no idea how to do that. We haven't even tried. A consistent year-to-year basis, haven't even tried.
But besides that, that's it. Nothing else. This is depressing.
Man.
I will say, at the trade deadline this year, I've never been more confident than anything they are going to sell everything. They are going to sell harder because they're going to pin that. That's what they're going to look at and say they wanted time to do. Oh, you wouldn't make the Justin Turner for Edward Cabrera deal? Watch what we're going to do. We're going to ship anything that even looks like a trade asset. Get out.
January 25th, breaking down the trade deadline. The Red Sox are sellers. January 25th.
That's what it will be. Opening up playing time for whatever one of the big three are, pushing close.
Catch the fever, baby.
I'd be shocked. I think one of them will be a September call-up. I don't think we see.
I'd agree. I'm not disagreeing. I think that's like dream scenario, right? Like, oh, somehow they all have great years and all surge at the same time. Meyer's shoulder kept him out a majority of last year. How's if Roman Anthony hits a wall this year? He's a teenager. He hasn't even turned 20 yet.
I mean, it would surprise me zero, and this speaks more about Miguel Blaze than Roman Anthony, but it would surprise me zero if at the end of the year people were once again higher on Blaze than they were on Anthony, like they were 2 years ago.
It's a hot take.
It surprised me zero. Like, he was very hurt. Like, you talk about injuries. Miguel Blaze had surgery, like, on his shoulder. Like, he was out for the entire year, basically. If he was the guy who we were talking about last year, like, oh, this may actually be the number one prospect in the organization. Like, that's how good. And he's the same age. Like, he's also 19. So him coming back and being like, oh yeah, that was always the guy, should surprise nobody. And that's not a knock. That's a good problem to have. It's not a knock on Anthony at all. He could continue to progress as he did last year. And I could still be saying that about Miguel Blaze in 12 months. That'd be a great problem to have. But again, we're banking on 19 and 20-year-olds. It's absurd.
I have no hope. I really don't.
We're high.
Like this is the catch-22, right? It's like we get frustrated that the Red Sox are lying to us, and then when they start telling us the truth, we can't handle it. like tell us the fucking truth, and like, all right, cool. We're not going to spend a fucking dime until these prospects come up, and they better be good, because if they're not, then we're going to trade them too. And I mean, we're not going to we're going to go like a decade without being relevant in the city or in the sport.
I always wondered how, because like, yeah, they sold Babe Ruth to make a play. The rest of the team was still good. How did they fall off so quickly? It was 100 years ago. It's hard to know exactly what happened. Now
he was really good, allegedly.
Super good. No doubt. But it's like, yeah, you start to see like how self-inflicted a curse is up close and personal, and it's really stupid.
Self-inflicted. If you just tried a little bit harder, if you just use money.
Babe Ruth in 1919, his last season with the Boston Red Sox, he led the league in runs, home runs, RBI, on base percentage, slugging percentage, OPS. His OPS plus was 217.
Classic Aaron Judge, MVP season.
Yeah, he hit 322 with an 1114 OPS. But then in his first year at the Yankees, the following year, he hit 376 with a 532 on base percentage for a 1379 OPS. 1379. What an asshole. He hit 54 home runs that year.
206 for his career. What the fuck?
And then 59 the next year. Just a fucking complete dickhead.
You got to get rid of that guy.
I mean, he was problematic. He killed his wife.
So this will be Mookie's 5th season in LA. He played 5 full seasons in Boston.
Yeah, he's a Dodger.
No, definitely. Like, for sure. Super depressing.
Mm-hmm.
If they sign Soto next offseason, I'll never say his name again. They're not going to. No one here has any belief that they're going to sign Juan Soto away from the Yankees.
I don't
right?
even think they're going to contact him.
Right. And doesn't like David Ortiz is his neighbor in like the real world, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Not even going to contact them. So that's where it's like, if they
Why
do
would
that,
you?
I get it. I get what, but even then, they could easily have both. The Dodgers just signed Ohtani. They already had Freeman and Mookie Betts. Like, obviously, these things can be accomplished. I'm not a simpleton. But if they sign Soto, I'll be like, all right, done. Well, this is fine.
They like
They're not going to.
the Red Sox get mad like when David Ortiz and Pedro Martinez like tell them things. They're like, hey, this is what you should do. You should go pay this guy or sign this guy. They're like, shut the fuck up. What do you know? It's like, Jesus Christ, they're not even willing to listen. They're begging to help you. They're like, hey, let me just explain what I see here. And they're like, nope, get the fuck away from me. It's wild. At least
David Ortiz sat down and in an interview, what was that, 2022? 21? Yeah, 21. I was like, who's the player in the league right now that you see yourself the most in? And he's like, Juan Soto. He's like, he's like, at his age, he's whatever it was at the time. He's like, at 22, he was better than I was like when I was 27, which I believe is his like 04 year. He's like, he's better now than I was like at my peak. And he still has so many more years to go. And the Red Sox are like, shut the fuck up. Shut up. Tyler O'Neill, come on down.
And who was the main piece of the original Juan Soto trade?
Oh,
James
God. Wood. Coley, I knew you were going back there. I was looking at him because he ranked ahead of Roman Anthony on MLB Pipeline's outfielder top prospects.
It was, and I know Jared will know exactly what I'm talking about. When the Pelicans were trading for DeMarcus Cousins,
Oh,
you remember
yeah, big
this? When the Kings were shopping him, a lot of teams wanted DeMarcus Cousins, but Vivek, the Kings owner, all he wanted in the world was Buddy Hield. If you didn't have Buddy Hield, you weren't getting DeMarcus Cousins. If you didn't have James Wood, you were not getting Juan Soto. The Yankees wanted Soto then. They were like, hey, we'd love to trade for him. They were like, do you have James Wood? They were like, we don't. That was it. They were done. The conversation was over. Who told Heim to draft James Wood, Jared? You were there. Who told him to do that?
The McMahon.
This guy. Instead, they took Judd fucking Fabian, whose entire family hates the Red Sox because they couldn't
went right back to Florida.
Right back to Florida. Now he's in the fucking Orioles farm system.
Yeah.
So great. That's what we did. That was awesome.
James Wood, has he like yet to have a minor league season with an OPS under 900?
He steals a ton of bases. He's like 6'11" now. He's unbelievable.
He's unbelievable.
He only barrels the ball. The Nationals are like, yeah, we'll take that. No problem.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Pretty good.
Listen, again, you could just sign Soto. They're not going to.
No.
But if you checked off all the boxes of what they care about, age, all these things, it should make sense.
I genuinely think Heim was going to trade for him because that's exactly what he said after the Devers contract. The Yankees gave up nothing for Juan. That's been the most underreported story of the offseason. They gave up fucking nothing for Juan Soto. No one else in the league even bid for him. There wasn't a single other team that saw the Yankees offer because this thing took weeks.
I mean, I don't know how aggressively the Blue Jays pursued him, but like there was a second there where we were like, oh, is he going to go to Toronto with Shohei?
Toronto almost had Ohtani. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I don't believe any Toronto rumors. Everything Heim said last year after the Devers signing, these are the kind of guys we give decade plus deals to. And all aligned with Soto. There's no one else who really even fit the description of Soto.
I don't know if you could have matched the pitching. Like, it was a pitching package. That's what they wanted, right? That was their major thing with Blake Snell obviously leaving and Michael Wacha as well. Could you have given them, like, Michael King, say what you will, he looked amazing when he transitioned to starting. Drew Thorpe, top 100 pitching prospect. You don't have one of those either.
He's literally 99, isn't he?
99 in terms of pipeline.
Right. Yeah. Listen. Who's to say you don't like it didn't need to, if they only truly wanted pitching, which I never believed that. If that's all they truly wanted, you could also go get it elsewhere. You know what I mean? It doesn't have to, you could be a 3-team deal. Like it doesn't have to be 2.
What I'd also question is with Houck and Whitlock and Cutter, like, was there a way to maybe implement some of those? Then they'd probably say, well, that's exactly what we don't have already, but it's fucking Juan Soto.
Then you go and sign those guys. Like it's not hard.
And that's what it comes
It's
back.
not hard.
When you want to act like the only way for you to go anywhere is money or is prospects, you're living like the Baltimore Orioles.
The Yankees also needed pitching this offseason, by the way. They went out and got it. Like they had no problem gutting not even gutting, because they still have pitching arms they're higher on. You know what I mean? They also traded pitchers to us. They traded a bunch of pitchers. None of them really project to be like top line starters. Even if you think King, what he did last year was real, great. He's number 3. That's a ceiling. And that's a great ceiling to have. The Red Sox would kill to have a number 3 right now. But that's what goes for Juan Soto. And no one else even put up a fight. That's insane.
Yeah, it was King, Brito, Thorpe, and Randy Vasquez. I think Vasquez.
King could
13.
come out to be like a pretty legit. I mean, he is legit, but like he could be like a stud.
He's shown the same as Houck, mostly.
Nah.
He's better than Houck.
You're only saying that because it's more recent.
I mean, they're playing at the same time. Like they're how much
but
older is
Houck
King
had his
than
success
Houck?
sooner. What?
How much older is King than Houck?
2
I think
years.
they're both 27. Oh no, so King's older.
I believe.
Yeah.
Tanner Houck is 20.
That's
coming
even more
off.
insane.
King will be 29.
Yeah, King's going into 29. Houck's going into 28. So
I feel like that's not a huge gap, but like Houck, if he had been traded right after he first came up, would have been looked at far more fondly than King was even right now. King just had his most success recently. He was a fine bullpen guy before that. No one was talking about him like he was anything that special. I think he was a first-round pick, but since that point...
Was he?
No. I thought he was a high pick for the Yankees. Because he was a BC kid, right?
Yeah. No, he was a
12th round.
Yeah, 12th round. Yeah,
way off there. I thought he was much higher. But either way, when he first came up, that was a guy... I mean, he had like a Masterson-type feel around him where it was like, oh, this guy might be way better than he actually is. And then he's fine. I have nothing against Tanner Houck, but San Diego is also a team who was contemplating trading for him last offseason, trading us Kim. Like there was already a connection there.
I think it's just 2 guys going in different directions. I think most people are out on Tanner Houck. Now, I think Andrew Bailey, who knows? It wouldn't be my plan, but can Andrew Bailey get him on track? Sure, teach him how to get lefties out and maybe he learns how to throw a third pitch. But he's been trying to learn how to throw a third pitch for 3 years. He's a splitter. Yeah, he's added everything, the change, all these different things.
He's a twice through the order guy. That's probably his ceiling. I think there's more of a need for those these days. And I don't know that King, I mean, he, like you said, he did in the second half last year. He doesn't have this crazy long track record of dominance. It just happened more recently. That's all it is.
I think you could both say, I think if Tanner Houck's in the bullpen, he could be a closer. I truthfully believe that.
Big time. 1,000% agree.
But then the Red Sox, and that's where if you spend, you can get those arms, but they're so dire in their pitching pipeline. And I think if you ask them today, what they would say was the reason they fired Heim was because of the lack of pitching. So they'd say, oh, well, how could we trade out of, such a little bit of pitching depth? How would we get by? Well, if you spent money, you could get by. But they don't want to go those routes, clearly. They don't think the farm system's good enough to make a move like that, despite Baseball America having them at, 4.
Well, it's like, I do think they're offering pitchers similar to the ones you see fans get made fun of for even like bringing up. I think they just keep shoveling York and like Rafaela and like a Wickelman Gonzalez or someone like that. I think they just keep shoveling that at every team. And everyone's like, no.
I don't understand. And it was nice for Nick York to be on the stage with everyone. Vaughn Grissom is like everything you wish Nick York would be. Like, truthfully, down to the profile. It's a guy with a strong hit tool, probably not a lot of power, fringy at second base. I think Grissom's more athletic. He doesn't have anchors in his shoulder. So why is Nick York in the organization at this point? Like, the stock is only going to go down as people realize, holy fuck, he has nowhere to play. Grissom hasn't proved himself yet. So you can sit there and say, oh, who knows? Maybe they need that guy. It's felt like you didn't need York for some time. Now it's even more clear to everybody. And you're going to take the risk. What happens if he doesn't hit at AAA? He was fine at AA last year.
Yeah, he was banged up last year too. But York, he projects to be Emmanuel Valdez. like a second baseman who can't play second base. Like that's.
I think he is a little bit better defensively. I do. I think Valdez is close to hopeless as like an everyday second base option. Can you fake him there a little bit? For sure. But Nick York, like he improved. I think last year, Eastern League manager said he was the best defensive second baseman. I think he's fine. He can get by. But he's also a guy with the bat where he's in between. He doesn't know if he wants to be the guy who hits 290 or the guy who hits 25 jacks. And then you throw in the injury concerns where he's seemingly banged up every single year and fighting through it.
Yeah, he needs to pick that Dan Ugla path and just rake.
Dan Ugla. Anything else on the manifesto?
That might be it. One last scroll. Yeah, that's it. Jeff Passan had his thing today saying the Red Sox were in on one of the 4 Boris guys. Montgomery, it seems like they're going to sit there and maybe try to wait it out. I think the Rangers are just eventually going to pony up the money and go for it. So it is what it is. I have a hard time seeing him landing here if no other team wants him. But if that somehow happens, maybe he takes a lesser deal. I just don't.
Why don't they want him?
That's what I would say. It's a guy who's proven in the postseason and eats innings. But if he's the last guy standing somehow, there'll probably be another team that's willing to be more aggressive than you are still, even at that point.
I'm just very confused by like that. Like, I guess like I was expecting more of like a bidding for the services of Snell and Montgomery, not like a collective passing of it. Like Snell, apparently, according to Mark Feinzen, only has an offer from the Yankees right now. And he's just sitting out there being like, anybody else, please? I don't want to go there. And then Montgomery's like, I literally moved here. Like I live here now. Like, can you please like make this work for my family? Like, I'll throw many innings for you. I'll do good.
It shouldn't be that hard, but how bad is the Red Sox offer? That's just the reality. They're like, dude.
Oh, it's probably fucking 2 years. Like it's like probably like 2 for 36. Yeah, they probably gave him $18 million a year. Two for 36, and then yeah, like I would hold out for 4 years too. He probably has 4-year offers, but he's just like, I really want to live here with my wife while she, like, I don't want to uproot her. Like I don't want my career and my job to take precedent. Like if I can come here to make things easier for my wife and her career, I would love to do that. And the Red Sox were like, fuck your family. You piece of shit. How about 2 years? I just don't get it. 4 years is not a huge, daunting commitment to make to a pitcher that is a innings machine like Montgomery is.
He wants
and
to
can pitch in the postseason. I mean, that's nice to want that, but that's not out there for him.
There is one other thing.
He would have signed that already.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. The other thing is the Duvall. That happened like immediately after we stopped recording last week.
Yeah, how pathetic.
The Red Sox
in a
and
bidding war with the fucking Angels. How pathetic.
Adam Duvall being back on the team, I'd be depressed. And it's no offense to Adam Duvall.
I'd be depressed.
I'm not trying to
no
be
no offense, but if you come back to this team, I'm gonna fucking kill myself.
Like if that's your answer, that's the right personal. Bat. Come on, man. Is it like he had a nice year when he came here last year. Don't get me wrong. He made it work in whatever 80, 90 games that he played. I think it was a 120 OPS plus, but God, like that's not the consistent right-handed bat you need. The guy's either hot as hell or cold. Like another Tyler O'Neill, you're giving me older Tyler O'Neill.
Yeah.
It's exactly what he is. A great corner outfielder who won Gold Gloves and hits homers.
Buddy, I'm just waiting for something to happen. I'm just waiting for something to happen. Give me something to nibble on. All we've got is awful owner comments, and the Red Sox were in. Who just fucking signed that Bradford said, but the Red Sox were interested?
There's Paxton, right?
Yeah, Paxton.
Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah, the Red Sox were interested. That's good. Vibes are down tremendous right now. But
pitchers and catchers report in 2 weeks.
Shut up.
Okay.
Do they really?
February 14th, I think, is the day pitchers report.
Christ. Well, every team has a different report date.
Yeah, I think the 14th is the Red Sox. The 19th is the day position players for them.
God bless Alex Cora for going up there and talking about the World Series. Like, God bless him.
It's so
For being
insulting
like,
for him.
You know, we had a Zoom meeting with the players where, you know, you can't win the World Series unless you start talking about it and believe in it. I would love to be a fly on the wall for that Zoom meeting where guys were like, yeah.
There was no Zoom meeting. There was no Zoom meeting. Not a chance.
No.
He was lying, which I prefer that. He's like, listen, I maybe he's getting traded. Does he know something? Is he getting traded somewhere?
I mean,
Because he's only got 1 year left. Like, you would think if they're going to field such a dog shit team, they would at least give him an extension to be like, listen, we know this is our fault, but we're not going to have you be a lame duck on this dog shit team. But no, that's what they're doing too. They're doing that as well.
yeah. That's fine.
Coley, if you were to predict a year from now, is Cora the manager of the Red Sox?
If they don't look at how hard it was just to find Breslow and think that the same thing won't be worse for a manager
Good point.
after another shittier year, like I would hope so. A, I believe in him as a manager. B, also, like, how much more difficult do you want to make things on yourself?
I think it's
I
on
don't even.
him.
Yeah, exactly. I don't think that it's a matter of like the Red Sox are deciding whether they want him or not. I think he's deciding if he wants the Red Sox or not.
Well, I mean, it was also like they were when the Red Sox were looking for a GM, they were like, Cora wants it eventually. It's like, well, why are we adding this to the search? Like, yeah, your manager, he's going to replace you in like a year or two. So even if you do a great job, you're out, new guy. Like, it was all very insane what happened there.
He had to turn them down. He was like, yeah, I met with ownership and I told them I wasn't ready for the position. It's like, you declined? You had to decline to become the GM? That's how bad they wanted it? But I think with Cora, like, I don't know. I look at Andrew Bailey. I said this last episode. I think David Ross is another name that really fits into this. And no disrespect to either one of them. I don't know. Cotillo, like, hates even that being spoken about. He's like, there's no way it's happening. He's like, I just don't.
Well, Jared's made the point. Every time the Red Sox do need a manager, the entire fan base is like, what about Tech?
Yeah. Every time. We got Tech, though.
Got an interview this offseason.
I'm not saying like he wouldn't be a good manager. I'm just saying like he's been here for 20-something years.
30.
30, yeah.
What was it, 92?
97.
The Slocum trade?
97.
No.
Oh, yeah.
Wasn't it him and Lowe in the same trade?
Yeah.
I thought that was much sooner.
I want to say it was 97.
Nailed it.
Did I?
Wow. I thought it was much earlier. Yeah.
Bang, bang.
97. Was he the 92 draft, maybe?
July 31st, 1997. Traded by the Boston Red Sox to the Seattle Mariners for Derek Lowe and Jason Varitek.
What a deal.
Hell of a deal.
That's dealing right there.
That's just a good old-fashioned classic deal. As far as deals goes,
it's an all-time deal.
That's an all-time deal. That's a deal that, as we say in the biz, paid dividends.
That had to have been Duquette, right?
It was.
Yeah. Dealing Dukes.
Dealing Dukes. Yeah. Yeah. Do you know what number Jason Varitek wore when he first came up with the Red Sox? Because it won 33.
No, it definitely wasn't. I'm sure it was like 52 or something stupid.
47.
Okay.
Francona's number.
Is that what Valdez wears too?
I think so.
Big three.
Yeah. Well, wow. What another riveting episode of the Name Redacted podcast talking about your Boston Red Sox. Wow. Jake's takes. Wait, hold on.
Sox.
I'm excited for this season. Jake's takes?
Yeah, just hope everyone has a great weekend, that this pod got you fired up, ready to go, and just go pound some non-alcoholic Blue Moons. We'll see you next week.
Tyler, any final thoughts?
Apologies for my phone getting hacked the other day. Don't know what happened there.
Oh, we didn't even talk about that.
There's no reason to talk.
Jesus
My phone
Christ, dude. Coley,
Apologies.
did you see this? Did you see this, Coley?
McDonald's has a 7-minute shelf life. Like the second it leaves the threshold of the restaurant, when they put it out the window, that clock is ticking. It is. You do not. It doesn't reheat, despite the fact that they just reheated it before they handed it to you.
Mhm.
It doesn't reheat again. It has a one-shot shelf life. The next morning is barbaric.
Listen, I'm looking for foods I can order the night before and eat the next morning. I'm open to considering different things. I've tried it with Wendy's, and it's very poor.
Is this what you think meal prepping is?
It's a form of it, yes. But I'm meal prepping for my cheat day.
These places are open in the morning.
Well, you can't get chicken nuggets till 10:30, and I'm an early riser.
Do you have an air fryer?
I do.
Just buy frozen chicken nuggets.
Oh.
They're going to be much better than morning after.
I would agree.
McDonald's.
I would agree than even fresh McNuggets. We're in the group text, and we were talking about moving the podcast to Thursday to accommodate Coley's schedule. Tyler Milliken responds, "Sounds good. Thumbs up." Then immediately follows that up with, "You think McDonald's nuggets taste good in the morning?" And then says, "Oops, wrong chat." First of all, who are you talking to? Who are you saying that to? You disgusting pig. Who did you say that to?
I was talking to Martha. Because she's
You were talking to the love of your life, your baby girl, your boo thing. And you said, you think McDonald's nuggets taste good in the morning?
Well, she's told me as my diet manager, it turns her on when I'm responsible about how I'm conducting my food. So I've been very open about it.
So this was a sext then.
In some ways, I was trying to show her how far ahead I was thinking.
Get the mop out.
Yeah. Hey, babe, you think McDonald's nuggets taste good in the morning?
She likes
Slower.
portion control.
Slower.
She likes portion. That's what gets her going is portion control.
Yes.
So she likes when you make good decisions with your diet.
Yes. She's rooting for me.
I'm rooting for you.
She likes them thick.
Mc-
Like I'm thick. I'm trying to just be a little less thick.
I love the arches. McDonald's in any shape or form is not a good decision for diet.
I have Five Guys penciled in as my number 2 meal of the day already, and I have a heart. You can't order Five Guys the night before. And I've been ordering Cape Cod pizza and having it in the morning, and it's good. It heats up well. You can do it all. But I've had it.
You have pizza for breakfast?
Well, yeah. So I order a small onion pepperoni, and then a large tender. And then usually I get up and I have a couple of the cold tenders before I go down and heat it all up.
How do we not do something about your background, by the way?
What do you mean?
Hold on. We'll get to the background. What do you think breakfast is? What?
Yeah. You're like,
the only day
it's
I eat it.
It's the first meal of the day. No one specified what kind of meal.
Oh, I'm very anti-breakfast foods. I don't believe in a lot
up
of
and at 'em. Get a fucking pepperoni pizza. Let's go.
I ordered a Blizzard from Dairy Queen. I put that in the fridge. I toss in the microwave when I wake up. Boom, breakfast. A meal. What do you mean?
He's meal prepping.
Yeah.
I have not even 24 hours. I was doing the math. It's really like 6 a.m. until I start nodding off at 9 p.m. And I have to get all my bad food in those hours for the whole week.
All right.
So I get started early. I'm committed to it so that by
It's a strategy.
by the end of the day,
It's no
I'm
doubt
good.
a strategy.
It's terrible.
It's how you're attacking this day. This you're also saying like 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. is a small window.
I don't have. I have a very short
15
battery.
hours.
Yeah.
That's 15 hours.
Yeah.
Like the second I wake up, I need the clown in my mouth. I need McDonald's on my bedside dresser so I can roll over and like an alarm clock just smash my hand down in some sweet and sour sauce.
Yeah.
It's just the perfect start, and I like it on that Saturday. So I'm coming off the work week, and it's been working.
It's a treat. It's a treat for working hard.
I think I'm looking slimmer already.
You
Stand
do look
up.
slimmer. I won't knock
Thank
that.
you, Coley.
Stand up.
I can't stand.
Imagine how much
you
slimmer
can't
you'd
stand?
look if you knocked off this insane day.
Well,
Yeah.
that's the only way any
Yeah.
of this can exist.
I'm saying peel back one of the McDonald's for breakfast. I think you could survive. It would be better if Friday you just stayed up later and ate it at like 3 a.m.
Okay,
That would make way more sense to me.
so to me, I'm very set in the rules. I need to weigh in before I can eat anything on Saturday morning, and as long as I'm where I am, then I don't feel guilty eating
Did you?
So
Are you like
12:01
monitoring your LBs?
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
Do you have like a?
every day.
Okay. What was your peak weight?
Oh God, it's bad. I don't know if I want to say it.
What was your peak
Sure,
weight?
it's not bigger than me.
Bleep it, Jake. 315. I know. I know. Everyone says the same thing.
Oh my
I
god!
told you, it was a
when
real
was this? When was this?
Like end of December.
Wait, like a month ago?
Yes.
Last month, yeah.
Oh my god!
I know. I'm down.
T-Dog.
I'm down like 25.
That's
Oh, yeah.
that's good for you. I'm
But
proud
that's
of you. 25.
bad.
That's no small feat. It's when people are like, "Oh, I lost 5 pounds," where I'm like, "Yeah, dude, you took a shit."
Yeah.
Like, it's
No.
fucking-
No.
Like you can fluctuate. Like I fluctuate 5 pounds in a day, depending on like what I
Sure,
eat or what
yeah.
I don't eat. But 25 pounds. That's no small feat. So congratulations.
Thank you. It doesn't mean much until
Maybe
you-
don't fucking have McDonald's, and we could make even more progress.
I look at it
What?
as a consistent build.
No, it's not.
Jared, you don't really have any say in this conversation. You've never been
I mean,
a fat.
I had to do the.
You've no,
First of
no,
all,
no, no,
Coley,
Nope,
Coley,
nope,
I
I don't want
was.
to hear it.
I had to lose weight from last year. I was up to 195 pounds last year.
All
and
right,
it
that's
wasn't.
exactly why you can't talk.
You're
here.
out
That's
of this conversation. You don't
exactly-
understand.
Yeah, but like I wasn't.
Insane.
I'm not supposed to be 195.
Oh,
You missed a couple cycles and you dropped.
I had to lose. I had to lose 15 pounds to be normal again.
you were bloated. Congratulations.
Yeah,
no,
you have-
Yes.
no. I was fat.
At what Tyler's saying about like it's like getting into like very cold water. You got to wade into it. So I get what he's saying, but I need to hear you're really talking about again 15 hours. Like what I'm picturing is like cartoonish
Yes.
constant shoveling for those 15 hours. And that's where it's like I feel like it's been a month. I feel like we could remove one of whatever's happening throughout Saturday.
Yes, I think realistically that is probably the best way. So it's not like it takes like 3 days for my body to get back to where I was when I weighed in on that Saturday morning,
Sure,
right?
yes.
So it's like by
Yes.
Tuesday or Wednesday, I'm back, and then I lose a couple pounds by the end of the week. I eat one meal a day, nothing crazy like a burger for
Oof.
dinner or, a steak or something like that with just like a potato or something. And that's all, no soda except on Saturday. I probably put down like 8-9 sodas on a Saturday right now.
Yeah, you're putting
Buddy,
What?
8
If I
to
had to
9
guess-
sodas.
With my meal partially as well.
What
If
the
I had to
fuck?
guess,
Hold on,
You're
hold
putting
on.
up. No, wait, because it's even way. He's putting up somewhere between 6,000 to 8,000 calories on this Saturday.
Probably close to it.
What are we doing here? The biggest thing, like for weight loss, the biggest thing is don't drink your fucking calories, and you're
Don't
doing
drink
that.
your calories. Can't.
I
drink
don't do
your
that any
calories.
other day except a Saturday.
It doesn't
But
fucking
the
matter.
Saturdays,
You erased the previous 6 days by being a piece of shit one day.
Okay, but I was
8 to 9 sodas.
I was reading that you can only gain a certain amount of weight in 24 hours. Like there's a limit, no matter how many calories.
not untrue. It's not untrue, but It's just undoing the previous days, and you're just starting back at 0.
Yeah.
What's soda too?
Coke.
That matters here. Coke. Okay, so yeah, not even 0.
You
Like
don't
switch
do
to
Coke
0. I'm not
you
saying
don't do
cut it
Diet
out.
Coke. You just
Coke Zero's gotten better. I was a big Coke Zero hater. The original recipe was terrible. They fixed that problem. It's fine now. It's not the same. It's not the same as a regular Coke. Anyone who's trying to lie is an asshole. It's not the same. It's good enough.
When I lost weight like a couple years ago for the first time, before I put it back on, Coke Zero was very important. But then I felt like something changed. I had a regular Coke, and then it was ruined for me again. Like I probably went 6 months on just Coke Zero, and then I had one sip of a regular Coke, and it was
would be just force it. I'm not telling you to go to seltzer. I'm not even going to tell you to go to water. I understand the need for that syrupy goodness.
Yeah.
You got to switch it because then you can at least maintain the 20-piece McNugget breakfast that's ice cold. You could still keep doing that. If it's just a 0, that's a huge step in the like. Then all of a sudden you're knocking off like legitimately 2,500 calories if you get those sodas out of there.
I have been trying to break it up more. Like the last 2 weeks, I've been having probably closer to 4 or 5, and then like 3-4 beers at night. Like out to dinner. That's less than soda, right?
I get shit faced.
Yeah.
I have 30 Bud Heavies.
I'm on a road to healthiness. I can feel it.
You're not.
You don't think so?
I mean, well, not with the 8 to 9 sodas thing. We gotta. I mean, that's how you do it. That's how you do it. You can't drink your calories, and that's what you're doing, pal.
It is really what kills you, the drinking of the calories.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So how about 4?
That's insane,
Zeros.
dude.
4
Like
Cokes.
the fact
zeros.
that like 8 to 9 is asinine. So like, let me just give you a little.
Are these bottles or cans?
Cans.
Are these bottles or cans?
Cans.
Cans. Okay.
Like if I drink 2 sodas in a day, I feel like a piece of shit.
Wow.
Like when I get lunch at the sub shop, I'll get a soda in a bottle, and it'll take me 3 days to finish that soda.
That's crazy.
Like I won't even drink a whole soda.
For me, it's like I need it with the meal. I really don't ever
I do
sit
too.
and just
I'm
drink
with
it
you.
without anything.
If I go out to dinner, on like a Friday night, like I'll get soda. But like during the week, like I'll fucking get like water or flavored water with dinner. But like, yeah.
What is that
There
called?
you go. Seltzer.
Polar.
I see
Polar
people
seltzers.
drink that. Does it have
zeros
calories?
across the board? Zeros it doesn't have anything. I don't know how they get it to taste like anything. It doesn't make any sense to my brain. Either they're lying to us like the Red Sox, or they got zeros across the board on the back of this thing. A can of Coke, and I very much love Google because you can see how fat collectively we are as a society. One of the related questions is which is healthier, Coke or Pepsi? It's the same fucking thing, you asshole. Why would one be healthier than the other? It's the same fucking thing.
I would Google that.
Of course, a can of Coke has 150 a 12-ounce can of Coke has 150 calories and 39 grams of sugar. So you're putting down 1,000 calories if you're drinking 8 of those of just this, and fucking 40 times 8, 320 grams of sugar.
Jesus, that is bad. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, that's how you're going to look at it.
It's definitely an unhealthy mindset. So building it down, I think 2 meals, maybe like 2 soda, maybe a soda a meal.
I'm telling you, just rip that Band-Aid and go to the Coke Zero. I'm not telling you to get rid of soda. As someone who's also been heavily addicted, I know how hard it is. The Coke Zeros, it's good enough. I understand. You got to treat it like you're addicted to heroin, and now you're on Suboxone. Like that's what Coke Zero is. You are an addict. Truly, this is how I break it every time. You're an addict. It's sugar. You're literally addicted to sugar. Get that 0 in there is good enough. And then once you're at that point, you'll just only really want water.
And I like water. I'm not one of those people that's like, I don't drink coffee or anything. Like during the week,
Sure.
All I drink is water. So definitely.
Yeah, that's big. And I get wanting to mix it up. Water, especially in the winter up here, is very tedious. But that Coke Zero you'll notice much larger improvements immediately without making a huge switch.
I'd probably, instead of losing 3 days out of the week, I'd get 2 of those back.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that sugar is an insane amount of sugar.
Okay. I do take it as a compliment. You guys were so surprised. I hold it well.
300's a lot. Like, it's a lot to guess for somebody.
Yes. Without hurting their feelings.
No, not even that. It's just Like,
Well, I'm also Coley. You're fucking tall.
it's
I'm
true.
5'10".
Impossibly
Yeah,
tall.
that's tough.
We're on the right side of things, though.
But because I'm this size, I'm way off on guessing heights and weights. I'm always just like, oh, that person's like what, 240, and they're like, no, that guy's 570 pounds. I'm like, oh, all right, I had no idea.
Me and Jared are the same height. That's what I go back to. I'm never gonna be you, Jared. Don't get me wrong, but
You could
ugh.
if you came to the Rocket Performance Center. I'd
You
turn
started. What did you weigh in high school? Like 120?
me
Yeah.
113 pounds.
I weighed that in 4th grade.
Yeah, I mean, I would argue it is harder to put on weight as someone whose body is not meant to carry that weight than it is to be overweight and then lose weight. Like,
I agree. Physically, it's much harder.
Much
Mentally, I think it's harder to take off weight than add it.
Yeah.
Were you in pain, Jared?
So-
like eating?
When?
Like in order to bulk, like to get weight on? Like I know.
Oh yeah, I
obviously-
used to like be nauseous all the time. I used to eat like 1 meal a day,
Yikes.
and then I went from like 1 meal a day, eventually got to like 6 meals a day.
We're so backwards.
Yeah, like I have to eat like 6 meals a day and work out for an hour and a half a day to like maintain my weight. If I just like stop working out and I eat 3 meals a day like a normal person, I'll probably shrink down to like 150.
Probably. You'd still look fine, though.
No,
You wouldn't look like sick.
I did look sick. 2019, at the end
Not
of
a-
2019, I literally looked sick. That's what happens
Well, that's
when I
because-
stop working out and I don't eat as much. Whatever I looked like at the end of 2019 was sickly.
You see yourself differently than the rest of the world. That
I
also
mean,
a factor here,
I'll
but-
show you the picture.
No, I'm not denying it, but also that 1 meal a day shit you got to switch to. You got to eat more throughout the day. You're killing yourself.
I don't know
What?
how to do it.
I know it's hard.
I'm like
It's-
all or
it's-
nothing.
I understand. Yeah,
It's portion
I've
control.
been there too.
Portion control.
Yeah, it's portion control, but it's. I remember they had Bigger, Faster, Stronger, which was like a national organization that's probably been lapped by now with all the technology that's come out since I was in high school. But they came out and did a clinic all day, just teaching us everything about sports and shit. And they were like, think of your metabolism as a fire. If you had a fire and you put a shit ton of wood on it, what would happen? The fire would go out. That's what eating once a day is. You're taking your metabolism, which is a burning fire, and you're just smothering it. You're literally slowing down your metabolism when you do it that way. As opposed to if you eat throughout the day, you speed your metabolism up because you're constantly putting one log of wood on that fire. And now it's burning consistently. And then that way, when you do have a hiccup and you overeat, your metabolism is better. So it can adjust a little bit better than how it has for me and you, like your entire fucking life.
That was my problem when I lost all the weight, because I'd have 2 hot dogs every day at 1 p.m. and that was all I ate for the whole day. And I was working out like an hour every day, legit. Like running, like doing the whole thing. And it worked. I lost so much weight so fast.
Yeah, you were starving yourself.
And then I
yeah.
went on the ultimate binge for like a year and a half. And that's where I am
Right.
here.
Right.
We're gonna get you right, T-Dog.
I believe in it. I think I'm on the right path.
You're not, but we're gonna get you there.
I got to learn.
Yeah, I mean, the whole like 8 to 9 sodas a day thing is not the right path, but we're gonna get you.
One day.
I know it's not every day.
One day.
I mean, listen, even if it's once a week, it's fucking horrible. 9 sodas, like Jesus, you want diabetes?
No.
It averages out to more than one a day. When you look at the whole week, you've now averaged more than one a day.
I should get
We're
the
gonna get
half
you right.
ones.
Yeah, get the little ones. They have those.
Again, you're trying to negotiate. Switch to the zeros.
right.
Cut all those calories.
addict
out and Stop
behavior.
negotiating. I know
Yeah.
it is. I've been there.
Yeah.
I'm going to buy Coke Zero. I will send it to you, Coley, as proof.
Wow.
Love it.
This is gonna be a big year for you.
Yes, it is.
Mhm.
This is gonna be a small year for you,
Thank you.
Folks.
mm-hmm. Folks. All right, that was talking tits with T-Dog. We are gonna get him in the Rocket Performance Center. We're gonna get him on a diet plan. Do you have a goal weight in mind for the end of the year?
I would like to get to 35. It's big.
Okay.
That's a big number.
It's a big number, but it's not
So you're
impossible.
60 away?
Yeah.
Or
Yeah,
50 away?
Yeah. Like,
You're
We're gonna have
285
to
right now?
completely
45.
revamp your diet. Yeah, we can do it. This is
That soda's going to cut 20 pounds right there if you stick with
Literally.
it. I promise you.
that
Like
honestly, just even cutting down the amount I was drinking it, I think is a major part because I haven't even been working out this month. This has just been
Big time.
straight dieting.
see. It's half the
When I
battle.
got to college, I was 282. I just stopped drinking soda because I didn't have it. Like, it wasn't in my fridge because I didn't have a fridge. I was, by the end of my sophomore year, I was 204. Like, and I wasn't doing a ton of working out. I was just not drinking soda. It's poison, like big time poison. It's delicious, but it's for sure awful for you.
Goodbye, soda. Coke, you don't own me anymore.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a Coke Zero guy.
Beautiful. Coley, any final thoughts?
I look forward to the day I don't immediately bring up Mookie Betts, like, because I just want to be over it, and they won't let me.
I'm with you. I don't bring him up nearly as much as you do, but I feel it inside.
No one does.
Yeah, no one
one
does.
does.
But like, I still feel it.
The subreddit
I think
appreciates it too when Coley does. I feel like that's something I notice every time you're on, where it's like
yeah.
you're willing to hit it.
Yeah.
No one else, like everyone else, wants to pretend like the dumbest thing of all time didn't happen. Like, again, like that's the other part. Again, like they did it with Babe Ruth. 100 years later, they did it again. It's like, what? Why? There was no need for it, and it can't be excused. Like that's where this shit started. And saying any other timeline's insane to me.
It's denial. I'm admitting. I don't bring it up as much because it truly is denial.
For sure. And it sucks. I don't enjoy it. I think people think I enjoy it. Like, no, I would enjoy watching him on my team. Like, that's what I would enjoy. That would be sick. And we had that for 5 years and punted it for no valid reason.
Correct. All right. We'll be back next week with more exhilarating Red Sox talk. More can't miss Sox banter.
Interview?
Who do you want? I told you, Coley, is it wrong of me that I get pissed when like I mention wanting someone on the podcast and then they do like 6 other Red Sox podcasts and like I don't want him anymore and I just don't have them on? Like that happened with Papelbon and Andrew Bailey. I was just like, I do want to have them on. I do want to talk to them, but like when you just did 3 other Red Sox podcasts in the last week, like I don't want to be 4th in line. And then it's like, it's not fresh anymore. Like you've already been asked all the questions.
They're warming up. They're getting ready for the big show, which is this. You said it. #1 show in Red Sox Nation.
It is, but I also
can't have
just,
some slapdick rookie come on here, doesn't know how to form a sentence. They gotta get their hacks in. Those are the batting cages.
I get it, but listen, I want what's fresh. I want the new thing. You know, I don't want a hand me down.
You know what? That morning McDonald's?
No. No. Give me that fresh out of the oven McNugget.
I think Bailey's honestly more interesting after one season. Like, all right, what did you do? What happened?
Or
Tell
this
us.
summer, what are you doing?
Yeah.
If the results are good, what's different? If the results are bad, what are you doing?
Is it your fault? Is it Breslow? Who's at fault here?
Yeah. Yeah, so we'll check back in. You can't make the rounds and then make this the last stop. Just not happening. Can't have it. Jake, can we have that?
Can't have it.
Can't have it. Won't have it. What, Coley?
What's the maximum amount of stops you'll allow before this one? Is it 1?
1.
Is it 2?
1.
1.
1. And you had to have like said something on that show that I'm interested in asking you about. Like it has to be like, all right, you made some headlines when you said that. Now everyone wants to know, why did you say that? So I'll ask. But if you've already been asked all the questions, then what left is there to say?
Right.
I don't want to do repeat questions. So if there's no new news and there's no new questions, I'm not going to fake it. You know?
Can't do it.
Can't have it. Can't have it, won't have it. So next week, Andrew Bailey is on the podcast.
Don't promise it. 'cause people
Nah,
get
I'm just
upset.
kidding. I'm just kidding.
Anthony done any podcasts?
Yeah.
He's done one.
All right.
Yeah.
Marcelo.
It's an option.
I told you, Coley. All right. So hear me out on this. I followed Kyle Teal, and then a couple days later he followed me back. And then I DM'd him and I said, people want your podcast debut. He did not respond. He read it. So it said seen, but he did not respond. So now I have a feat because of how tight those guys are. Now I have a feel like I'm not going to reach out to like Meyer or Anthony. They both follow me, and Nick York. They all follow me, but I'm not going to DM either one of them asking them to come on because I feel like in my head, my anxiety tells me Kyle Teal screenshotted that DM and was like, look at this fucking loser that asked me to come on a stupid ass podcast. Like now, if I like message Meyer and I'm like, hey, do you want to come on? Like in my mind, I'm thinking like he's going to be like, you asked Teal to come on before me. Like, fuck you.
Teal did show me that screenshot.
He did, yeah.
I don't disagree with him.
That's my fear.
Um,
That's my fear is that I'm going to get clowned and I just don't want to do it.
So I think now you just said they all follow you. You put them all in one DM and you go, listen, Kyle's out. Kyle's out. I've lost all my faith in him. Like have him in this one too. Be like, Kyle, you had the chance. You blew it. We had Casas on like as he was getting drafted. You're too big for us all of a sudden. Sick, dude. Yeah. And then you're just like, this is now a race. Whoever comes on first, it means something to the fan base. It's not untrue. Whoever comes on first will curry favor with the fan base in a way the other two won't. So I would be like, listen, the ball's in your court. What if all three want to come on simultaneously?
So I think that that's a real possibility that they would kind of team up. Yeah.
And I think you offer it like that too. I think that's what. Yeah, I agree. If you just start, you look like a little slut going around to all of them.
I agree. Yeah, that's my fear. I don't want to be a little hussy.
So I think you put all of them in there, and then also like your Donnie Monegro, someone they've never even spoken to, can't speak to yet.
Yeah,
and it's just you put all the fellas in there, and you're like, listen, this is what I'm thinking, boys. If not, I'm telling Breslow to ship your ass to Minnesota tomorrow.
Yeah, ask Caleb Ward if that's real.
What if maybe they're big Ort guys?
Nah, because then they would have just blocked me. Like another unnamed minor leaguer that's no longer in the organization. You know who I'm talking about.
Jeter Downs.
There was a minor leaguer that I'm assuming played with Ort that just blocked me out of nowhere. And I've never said a word about him. I didn't even mention him. And I was like, this is the Ort disease that's being spread. There's no other reason. He's not in the organization anymore, so it doesn't matter. But
the Caleb Ort sickness is gone. We don't have to worry about any of that anymore. This is a new era.
I know, but I'm saying like it did spread. It was spreading. Yeah, because I didn't say a word about this player. Never even mentioned him.
There's no way in hell they let any of those three near Caleb Ort. Let's be real. There's no way they even allowed them in the same fucking room.
No.
You think they're going to let Caleb Ort have any kind of impact on their careers?
You're right.
Maybe he threw to them at the spring training complex.
That's very risky.
If you want easy at bats, just dig in against this guy.
Like they sent Caleb Ort away with a fake injury, so we never heard of him again. So Kyle Teal and him never cross paths. Not even a rehab assignment.
Yeah. We've been trying to end this podcast for like 45 minutes.
I'm sorry.
I mean, I haven't eaten dinner yet. You know, I know that you're on a diet. Like I'm trying to I'm trying to like maintain and gain weight, and you're preventing me from doing that. So no, it's fine. It's just 10:35.
20 piece.
My dad brought me some dinner because I didn't have time to eat dinner. Had a really busy day today.
Am I supposed to feel bad?
No, I'm not asking you to. I'm not asking for you to feel bad. I'm asking you to let me go eat dinner at 10:35.
Go eat. For me.
I'm gonna eat.
Eat for us.
I'm gonna eat. This one's for you, and I have a soda with it too.
That's mean.
Well, I someone has to drink the soda.
Someone's gonna blow all this cocaine.
Yeah,
What
a heroin
do you want from
addict.
me?
Oh, I'm gonna do heroin since you can't. That hurts my feelings.
Yeah, but I can do it in moderation.
Oh.
Something that you can't control.
You don't have
yourself.
to brag about it. You don't have to be high stepping around the room with a syringe in your arm.
Yeah.
Sorry, you're a better man than me, Jared.
Listen, I wish you had my ability to drink a little bit of soda and that's it. You don't. Clearly, you're a fucking soda junkie.
I wish you had my ability to eat something and not feel nauseous.
What?
I don't know. I don't think you're taking the most solid shits. I feel like you've got broken pipes.
Yeah.
Wrap it up, please.
There's no consistency to those bowel
Yeah.
movements.
No.
Jared's got protein cruising through. That guy's regulated like you wouldn't believe.
Yeah. The most strict diet you've ever seen.
Go eat your fucking food.
I'm gonna. All right. We'll see you next week. Bye.
Buenas noches, amigos.